The ancients did not say, "You must fight for your life." They said, "As you think, so you become." What if the universe was not a battlefield, but a mirror, perfectly and impersonally reflecting back to you the truth you hold within? What if the struggle for abundance, the endless chase for more, was never the intended path? What if it was all a misunderstanding, a profound misinterpretation of a simple, elegant law? You are here because a part of you already knows this. A quiet, wise part of you is tired. It is tired of the pushing, the striving, the relentless effort that yields so little true peace. It is the exhaustion that settles deep in your bones, the quiet desperation behind the question, "Am I not doing enough? Am I not worthy enough?" Why does the flow feel blocked? Why does the river of prosperity seem to run dry just before it reaches your shore? This is not a collection of instructions to be memorized. This is an invitation to come home, to recalibrate your very being, to tune the instrument of your soul back to its native frequency, the frequency of abundance. Because abundance is not something you acquire, it is something you remember. It is the factory setting of the universe. Lack is the static, the interference, a signal picked up from a world that has forgotten its own nature. Over the course of our time together, we will not speak of chasing, of earning, or of forcing your will upon the world. We will instead explore the profound and forgotten art of allowing. We will learn to dismantle the invisible dams of doubt, fear, and unworthiness, not by force, but by understanding. We will see that money is not a prize to be won, but an energy to be circulated. A current that you can, and will, learn to welcome effortlessly. This is not about adding more to your to-do list. It is about removing the very resistance that makes the list necessary. Prepare to do nothing, and in that stillness, to finally receive everything. The journey does not begin by taking a step forward, but by becoming quiet and listening. Listen. The universe is about to speak to you in the only language it knows, the language of reflection. Let us begin. Before we can welcome the effortless flow of abundance, we must first become profoundly aware of what is currently occupying the space. We must sit in the room of our own mind and listen, not to the world outside, but to the world within. And what most of us hear, if we are truly honest, is a persistent, low-frequency hum, a whisper that sounds so much like our own voice that we have mistaken it for truth. This is the echo of lack. It is the single most pervasive illusion that keeps humanity in a state of self-imposed limitation. Understand this first, and all else will begin to shift. The feeling of not having enough, the anxiety about the future, the sharp pang of envy, the belief that you must scramble and fight for your piece of the pie. This is not your reality. It is a recording. It is an echo, reverberating through the chambers of your consciousness, a sound that was generated long ago and has simply never been allowed to fade into silence. Your work is not to get something you do not have. Your work is to stop listening to a ghost. Imagine your mind, your pure consciousness, is a vast and silent room. It is pristine, empty, and resonant. When you were born, this room was quiet, filled only with the potential of what could be. But very early on, a sound was made. Perhaps it was the sound of your parents speaking in hushed, worried tones about the bills at the kitchen table. Perhaps it was the sound of a teacher telling you that you had to work very, very hard to get anywhere in life, implying that your natural state was one of not being good enough. Perhaps it was the sound of society, a cacophony of advertisements telling you all that you were missing, a chorus of news reports chanting a mantra of scarcity, crisis, and competition. That original sound, whatever its source, struck the walls of your pristine room, and it created an echo. And then that echo struck another wall, and created another, fainter echo. And on it went. until the entire room was filled with the overlapping, distorted reverberations of that first sound of lack. The silence, the pure potential, was lost. Now, you sit in this room, and you believe the echoes are a live event. You believe the sound of lack is being generated right now, in this moment, by your circumstances, but it is not. Your current circumstances are the result of you having lived your life by the guidance of the echo, not the cause of it. The echo has a voice. It speaks to you constantly. When you see something beautiful in a store window, the echo whispers, "That's not for you. You can't afford that." When a friend shares news of their success, the echo murmurs, "See, they have it figured out. You're falling behind." When you have a moment of peace, the echo intrudes, "Don't get too comfortable. Something bad is bound to happen." It is the voice that tells you to hoard, to save out of fear rather than out of joy. It is the voice that makes you feel guilty for spending money on your own pleasure. It is the voice that convinces you that your dreams are irresponsible, that practicality means shrinking your desires to fit your perceived container of reality. Do you recognize this voice? It is subtle, cunning, and masterful at disguising itself as logic, as responsibility, as wisdom. But it is none of those things. It is only an old, tired sound, bouncing off the walls. Let us trace the source of this sound, not to place blame, but to understand its nature. For in understanding, we dissolve its power. Think back. Think of the energy around money in your childhood home. Was it one of ease, of flow, of happy generosity, or was it one of tension, of arguments, of a constant, unspoken anxiety? The words "we can't afford it" are a powerful seed. Planted in the fertile soil of a child's mind, they grow into a thick, tangled forest of limitation. Think of your own past experiences, a business that failed, a job you lost, a moment of deep financial vulnerability. These events are like a loud shout in the room of your mind. They create powerful, emotionally charged echoes that can last for decades. They become part of your identity. I am the one who is bad with money. I am the one who always struggles. These are not truths. They are stories woven from the thread of an echo. They are the phantom pains from an old wound. The wound can heal, but you keep replaying the memory of the pain, believing it is happening now. What is the common response when one becomes aware of this negative inner voice? The common response is to fight it. We try to argue with the echo. The echo says, "You'll never have enough," and we shout back, "Yes, I will work harder." But what happens when you shout in a room full of echoes? You only create more noise. You add your own frantic energy to the cacophony. Arguing with the voice of lack, resisting it, battling it, is like trying to flatten a wave with an iron. It is a futile, exhausting struggle against a phantom. You cannot defeat an echo by punching it. You cannot silence a ghost by screaming at it. This struggle, this inner war, is the very effort that we have been taught is noble, but it is a wasted effort. It drains your life force and, most critically, it keeps your entire focus on the very thing you do not want. The very act of fighting lack is a profound affirmation of lack to the universe. You are telling the universe that lack is so real, so powerful, that it must be fought like an enemy. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, simply says, yes, and gives you more of the battle you are so focused on. So what is the path? If we do not fight, what do? We do something far more powerful. We introduce a new sound, a sound that is quieter at first, but infinitely more resonant. A sound that is in harmony with the actual structure of the room, with the true nature of reality. This new sound is the sound of isness. It is the sound of a single, powerful, undeniable truth. You can start with your own breath. The echo may be screaming about next month's rent, but can you introduce the sound of your own breathing? In this moment, I am breathing. In this moment, I have air. Air is abundance. It is given freely, without question, without my needing to earn it. The echo may be crying about your bank account, but can you introduce the sound of the chair beneath you? In this moment, I am supported. The ground is holding me. I am not falling through space. This support is abundance. This is not denial. This is a radical shift of focus. It is the act of consciously choosing which sound to place your attention on. You are not the echo. You are the room in which the echo occurs. You are the listener. And, as the listener, you have the power to change the station. The new sound is the sound of gratitude for what is, no matter how small it seems. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of clean water, the fact that your heart is beating without any conscious effort from you. These are not small things. They are galactic miracles. Each time you genuinely feel gratitude for one of these simple, present-moment realities, you are generating a new sound. You are striking a tuning fork of truth. At first, the old echo of lack might seem to drown it out. It will feel insignificant. But the nature of resonance is that a true frequency will always, eventually, overpower a distorted one. The sound of truth has an integrity to it that the echo does not. The echo is a dead thing, a memory. The sound of gratitude is alive, generated in the present moment. Continue to introduce these new, quiet sounds of truth. Acknowledge the echo when it arises. Do not fear it or hate it. Simply see it for what it is. Ah, there is the echo again. The old recording is playing. And then, gently, without struggle, introduce the new sound. Thank you for the light coming through my window. Thank you for this body that allows me to experience this world. Thank you for this single moment of peace. You are filling the room with a new vibration. Slowly, the echoes of lack will begin to fade. They have nothing to sustain them when your attention is elsewhere. They will grow fainter, more distant, because the room is now beginning to vibrate with the frequency of gratitude, of presence, of enoughness. You are changing the acoustics of your own consciousness. This is the first, most fundamental step. To recognize that the enemy is not outside of you. It is not the economy, or your boss, or your past. It is merely an echo, and you are about to sing a new song. Now that we have identified this echo and understand that we need not fight it, we must examine the primary action we take that keeps this echo alive. Our deep cultural obsession with effort and struggle. We must now learn to shatter those chains. We have listened in the quiet room of the mind and identified the persistent, ghostly sound of the echo of lack. We have seen it for what it is, not a present reality, but a recording from the past. Now, we must turn our attention to the machine that keeps this recording on a perpetual loop. It is a machine powered by a single, deeply ingrained belief, a belief so sacred in our culture that to question it feels like heresy. It is the belief in the virtue of struggle. It is the worship of effort. We have been taught to wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor, to view stress as a sign of importance, and to believe that anything worth having must be wrested from the universe through sheer force of will. This belief is the heaviest link in the chain that moors you to the shores of scarcity. It is a noble lie, a sacred prison, and today we are going to shatter its chains, not with force, but with a truth so simple and profound it will realign your entire existence. Imagine that life, that the flow of prosperity, health and joy, is a great and powerful river. This river flows constantly, in one direction, towards an ocean of infinite abundance. It has its own intelligence, its own momentum, its own divine and perfect speed. Now, picture a person in a small boat on this river. Convinced by the echoes of his past that life is a battle, he turns his boat to face upstream and begins to row with all his might. His muscles burn, sweat pours from his brow, his heart pounds in his chest. He is completely consumed by the act of rowing. He makes excruciatingly slow progress, and at the end of the day, exhausted and depleted, he looks at the meager distance he has traveled and believes he has had a productive day. He has worked hard. He has struggled. He measures his success by the depth of his exhaustion. He is noble. He is a warrior. And he is fighting a battle he can never, ever win. He is fighting the entire, immense, inexorable flow of the universe itself. Now, imagine another person on the same river. This person has first become still. They have stopped paddling and have simply listened. They have felt the direction of the current. Understanding that the river's power is infinitely greater than their own, they have gently turned their boat around to face downstream. They are now pointing in the same direction as the universal flow. The river itself now carries them forward. Their paddle is no longer a tool of brute force, but a rudder for gentle guidance. With a soft touch here, a slight correction there, they navigate the currents with ease and grace. They move swiftly, covering vast distances with minimal exertion. They are relaxed, observant, able to enjoy the journey, to see the beauty of the landscape passing by. They arrive at their destination feeling energized, not depleted. This, my friend, is the difference between effort and alignment. The universe does not reward the magnitude of your struggle. It responds to the degree of your alignment. Your true work is not to paddle harder. It is simply to turn your boat around. This requires a radical redefinition of action. We have been conditioned to recognize only one type: forced action. Forced action is born from the mind. It is driven by the echo of lack. It feels heavy, urgent, and stressful. It comes from a place of fear, the fear that if you don't make something happen, nothing will happen. It is the frantic energy of the man rowing upstream. It is making that sales call when your gut is screaming no. It is taking on a project out of a sense of desperation. It is the endless networking, the joyless striving, the constant shoulds that populate your daily thoughts. This kind of action creates immense resistance. You are pushing against life, and by a fundamental law of physics and metaphysics, life pushes back with equal and opposite force. This is why it feels like you are wading through mud. This is why you burn out. You are attempting to impose your will, born of a limited perspective, upon an infinitely intelligent system that already has the perfect path laid out for you. The alternative is not inaction. It is inspired action. Inspired action is born from a place of stillness, from your intuition, from that quiet, wise part of you that is always connected to the river's flow. It does not feel heavy. It feels light, clear, and logical. It often comes as a sudden impulse, a creative idea that seems to appear from nowhere, a feeling of knowing what the next right thing is. It is the gentle steering of the person whose boat is already moving with the current. Inspired action can look like hard work to an outside observer. It might be hours spent writing, painting, coding, or building. But to the person engaged in it, it does not feel like work. It feels like play. It feels like flow. Time seems to disappear. There is no resistance, no struggle, only the joyful expression of energy moving through you. This is the state where genius resides. This is the state where effortless abundance is created. The universe brings you the opportunities, the ideas, and the resources, and you act as the joyful channel for their expression. Forced action drains you. Inspired action energizes you. So, how do you turn the boat around? How do you shift from forced action to inspired action? The answer is both simple and profoundly challenging for the modern mind. You must be willing to stop. You must be willing to rest. You must give yourself permission to do nothing. For the man rowing upstream, the moment he stops paddling is terrifying. The current will immediately begin to carry him backward from his hard-won position. He will feel like he is failing, like he is losing ground. This is the guilt and anxiety you feel when you try to rest. It is the echo screaming that you are being lazy, that you are falling behind. You must see this fear for what it is, an illusion. The ground you are losing is ground you should never have been fighting for in the first place. Rest is not laziness. Rest is recalibration. It is the most productive and courageous action you can take when you feel stuck. It is in the stillness, when you have finally stopped the frantic paddling of the mind, that you can begin to feel the current. You can finally hear the whisper of intuition over the shouting of the echo. This stillness is an act of supreme trust. It is a declaration to the universe that you believe its flow is more powerful and intelligent than your own struggling. It is in this surrender that the boat begins to turn. You do not have to turn it by force. The current itself, the moment you cease to resist it, will gently guide you back into alignment. What does this look like in practical terms? It means when you feel overwhelmed and stressed, the solution is not to create a longer to-do list, but to cancel your appointments and go for a walk in nature. It means when you are faced with a difficult decision, the answer is not to agonize over pros and cons, but to meditate, to sleep on it, to create the space for the clear answer to arise. It means learning to value a state of being over a state of doing. This shatters the chains of effort because it reveals that your power was never in your muscles, but in your allowing. Your value is not determined by how much you do, but by the quality of the energy from which you act. One single small act from a place of alignment is 1,000 times more powerful than a year of joyless struggle. One phone call made from a state of inspiration can open a door that 1,000 cold calls from a state of desperation could never budge. You are here to be a co-creator with the universe, not its adversary. The struggle is over the moment you decide it is. Let go of the oars of forced effort. Let the exhaustion drain from your body. Feel the tension release from your shoulders. It is safe to float. It is wise to drift for a moment. Feel the gentle tug of the current. It knows the way. Your only job is to allow it to carry you. As we let go of these chains of struggle, we find that our power does not lie in what we do, but in how we are. Our internal state, our feeling, becomes the true engine of creation. This state of being is not merely a mood. It is a form of currency, a powerful and tangible medium of exchange with the universe that we must now learn to recognize, value, and consciously cultivate. We are about to discover the most valuable asset we will ever possess. Having shattered the chains of effort and allowed our boat to be turned by the great river of life, we arrive at a profound realization. Our power, our ability to navigate this river, does not come from the force of our actions, but from a much more subtle and infinitely more powerful source. We have been living under a grand illusion, a collective misunderstanding about the very nature of exchange in this universe. We believe that the primary currency of life is money. We check its balance, we worry about its flow, we dedicate our lives to its accumulation. But money is not, and has never been, the true currency. It is merely the receipt. It is the physical printout of a transaction that has already taken place on a much deeper level. Today, we learn to operate in the real economy. We learn to master the true currency of the cosmos, the currency of being. Your feeling state, your internal vibration, is the only coin the universe truly recognizes. Let us return to our metaphor, but this time from a different perspective. You are not just on a river, you are a living, breathing broadcast tower. You are transmitting a signal into the quantum field every second of every day. Your thoughts are the specific content of the broadcast, the words and images, but your feelings, your emotions, are the carrier wave. They are the energy that gives the signal its strength, its clarity, and its reach. A thought without a feeling is just faint static, barely perceptible. A thought powered by a strong emotion is a clear, powerful broadcast that shapes the very fabric of reality. The universe is the ultimate receiver, and its law is simple. It does not judge the content of your broadcast. It only ever matches the frequency you are emitting. It is an impersonal mirror, reflecting your signal back to you in the form of life circumstances. This is why positive thinking alone often fails. You can stand on a rooftop chanting, "I am wealthy, I am abundant." But if the carrier wave of your feeling state is broadcasting the frequency of fear, anxiety, and doubt, what signal do you think the universe is actually receiving? It receives the powerful emotional carrier wave of, "I am afraid, I am in doubt, I do not have enough." And so, it dutifully reflects back to you circumstances that perfectly match the feeling of fear, doubt, and not having enough, thereby proving your fears to be correct. The universe does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are being. The transaction is always an exchange of feeling. You are constantly purchasing your future experiences with the emotional currency you are spending in this very moment. Let us examine the denominations of this currency, for not all feelings are created equal. The lowest denominations, the small tarnished coins of this inner economy, are feelings like fear, worry, jealousy, and despair. They have very little purchasing power. It takes an immense amount of worry to manifest anything, and what it does manifest is inevitably more circumstances to worry about. Spending the currency of fear is like taking out a predatory loan from the universe. It comes with an impossibly high interest rate of more fear. You spend the feeling of anxiety about a bill, and the universe delivers a reality where bills are indeed a source of anxiety. The transaction is always perfect. Moving up in value, we have the currency of hope, of optimism, of simple contentment. This is a more stable currency. It is like the paper money of the inner world. It can create pleasant circumstances, moments of relief, and a general feeling that things are okay. It is a vast improvement, and for many, it is a worthy goal in itself. But it is not the gold standard. It is not the currency of miracles. It is not the currency that bends reality to a vision. The highest denominations, the purest gold in the cosmic treasury, are the feelings that are unconditional. They are profound peace, the kind that exists even in external chaos. They are authentic joy, the bubbling up of delight for no reason at all. They are unconditional love for yourself, for others, for existence itself. And perhaps most potently in the context of abundance, there is deep, resonant gratitude. These feelings are the gold standard because they are the native frequency of the universe itself. They are the vibration of source energy. When you generate a feeling of pure gratitude, you are not just sending a signal, you are becoming one with the receiver. You are aligning your personal energy field with the infinite, organizing power of the cosmos. A single genuine moment of deep gratitude for the air in your lungs has more creative power, more purchasing power than a lifetime of worried striving. It sends a signal of such clarity and coherence that the universe has no choice but to reflect back circumstances, people, and opportunities that match that high vibration state. This is when synchronicities occur. This is when the impossible happens. You have paid for your miracle in advance with the golden currency of pure feeling. So, the most important financial practice you can ever adopt has nothing to do with your bank account. It is the practice of becoming a conscious auditor of your internal emotional state. Throughout your day, begin to ask yourself, what currency am I spending right now? Am I paying for my future with the cheap coins of irritation and impatience in this traffic jam? Am I investing in my future with the currency of resentment as I read an email? Or am I depositing into my cosmic account with a moment of genuine appreciation for the taste of my coffee? Are you operating from an emotional surplus of peace or from an emotional deficit of anxiety? This is not a call for spiritual bypassing or the denial of genuine, difficult feelings. When a wave of sadness or anger comes, let it come, acknowledge it. To suppress it is another form of resistance. The key is to not set up shop there. Do not build a home in the land of despair. Acknowledge the feeling as a passing weather system, not the climate of your entire being. Observe it without judgment. And then, when you are able, consciously choose to pivot. Consciously choose to find one small thing, however insignificant it may seem, for which you can feel a flicker of genuine gratitude. That flicker is you minting a new coin. It is a deliberate act of investing in a different future. Your feeling state becomes your most trusted compass. When it points toward fear, lack, and contraction, it is simply telling you that you are broadcasting a frequency that will attract more of the same. Your job is not to break the compass. It is to thank it for the information and gently, consciously begin to change your heading. This leads to the ultimate secret of manifestation, the core principle that mystics and sages have taught for millennia. The transaction is always completed internally. First, you do not receive abundance to finally feel peaceful and grateful. You cultivate the feelings of peace and gratitude to finally receive abundance. The feeling must precede the evidence. You must feel the warmth of the sun on your skin in your imagination before the sun breaks through the clouds. You must feel the relief of financial ease in your nervous system before the numbers change in your account. This is the act of faith that is so often spoken of. It is not a blind belief. It is a conscious, vibrational alignment with a reality that has already been created in the quantum field. You are paying for your order with the only currency that matters, and then you are trusting the universal logistics system to deliver the physical package. Money, possessions, and opportunities are the downstream effects. Your feeling state is the cause. This is the ultimate financial literacy, the only true path to mastering your reality. This revelation is liberating because it shifts the entire locus of power from the chaotic, unpredictable external world back to the one place you have complete sovereignty, your own inner state. And the most beautiful truth, the most wonderful news of all, is that you are not starting from a place of bankruptcy in this new economy. Far from it. Once we understand the immense value of our feeling state, we can turn our attention inward to realize that we are already rich in this currency. We can begin to audit the vast, untapped wealth we already possess in the vault of our own being. We have arrived at a pivotal understanding. We have dismantled the illusion of struggle, and we have discovered that our feeling state is the true currency of reality. This knowledge is the key, but it is a key to a door you have been standing in front of your entire life. For many, the immediate reaction to this revelation is a subtle form of despair. If my feeling state creates my reality, and I have been feeling lack and anxiety for so long, then I must be in a deep emotional debt. I must be starting from a position of profound bankruptcy. This, my friend, is the final great lie of the ego, the last ghost of the echo of lack. The truth is the very opposite. You are not starting from zero. You are not empty. The search for wealth, for worth, for enoughness is over, because you have been standing on top of the treasure chest the entire time. Today, we do not seek anything new. We simply open the vault of your own being and take inventory of the infinite riches you already possess. Imagine you were born the heir to a vast, beautiful, and impossibly fertile garden. This garden is walled, and for your entire life you have lived on the outside of these walls, forgetting what lies within. Out here, the world has taught you that resources are scarce. You have learned to beg, to compete, to struggle for scraps of food and sips of water. You have felt the constant gnawing of hunger and the sharp sting of not having enough, all while leaning against the very wall that separates you from your own private Eden. Your inner work, your spiritual journey, is not about becoming a better beggar. It is about remembering the key to the garden gate that has been in your pocket all along. That key is your own self-awareness. Today, you take that key, you turn the lock, and you push the gate open. What do you see? It is not a perfectly manicured lawn. That is a fantasy of the sterile mind. Instead, it is a landscape of wild, untamed, powerful life. It is overgrown, yes, with the weeds of self-doubt and the thorny vines of past hurts. But look closer. Look at the soil. It is dark, rich, and potent, fertilized by every experience you have ever had. Look at the ancient, towering trees. These are your resilience, your strength, grown tall and strong from weathering the storms of your past. See the hidden springs bubbling up from the ground? That is your infinite wellspring of creativity, pure and clear. And scattered throughout the wild growth, you see flowers of a color and shape that exist nowhere else on earth. These are your unique talents, your passions, your quirks, your singular way of being. This garden is not something you need to create. It is something you need to rediscover. Your only work is to pull the weeds of false belief and begin to cultivate the magnificent life that is already there. Let us now take a formal inventory of this inner vault. Let us audit your true assets, the wealth that can never be taxed or taken away. First, consider the gold of your past experiences. You have been taught to see your failures, your heartbreaks, and your hardships as liabilities on your life's balance sheet. This is an accounting error of cosmic proportions. Every challenge you have ever faced was a forge. It burned away what was weak and tempered you into something stronger. The wisdom you gained from a mistake is an asset. The compassion you learned from a heartbreak is an asset. The resilience that was born from surviving a difficult time is one of your most precious assets. Stop seeing your past as a source of shame and start seeing it as your personal mine of spiritual gold. You have paid for this wisdom in the currency of experience. It is yours. Claim it. Next, let us examine the jewels of your latent talents and passions. These are the abilities and joys you have dismissed as impractical hobbies or useless skills. Perhaps it is your ability to truly listen to another person, to make them feel seen and heard. In a world of noise, this is a rare jewel. Perhaps it is the love you pour into cooking a meal, the way you can bring order to a chaotic space, your unique sense of humor, your ability to soothe a crying child, your eye for beauty. We have been conditioned to only value talents that have a clear, immediate path to a paycheck. This is like owning a chest full of priceless, unique gems and only valuing the ones that can be cut into a conventional diamond shape. Every single one of your passions, every spark of joy you feel when engaged in an activity, is a signpost from your soul pointing toward your wealth. It is an indicator of a powerful energy that wants to be expressed through you. These are not trivialities. They are the unique colors you are meant to paint the world with. Now, look deeper into the vault. See the unmined diamonds of your ideas. How many sparks of inspiration have you had that you immediately extinguished with the water of doubt? An idea for a book, a business, a community project, a new way of doing things. You dismissed them as silly, impossible, or thought someone else has already done that. But no one else can do it with your unique voice, your unique perspective, your unique blend of talents and experiences. Your mind is a constant generator of valuable blueprints. Start treating them as such. Write them down, honor them, water them with your attention. An idea that is nourished by belief is the seed of all material creation. Your inner vault is overflowing with these seeds. And what of the most powerful currency of all? The infinite wellspring of love. Your capacity to feel love, to give love, and to be love is the ultimate creative force. We are not speaking of romantic love alone, but of the fundamental energy of connection, of kindness, of forgiveness. Every act of kindness you perform, to yourself or to another, is a deposit into your cosmic account. Every moment you choose forgiveness over resentment, you are declaring your own freedom and abundance. Every time you look at a person, an animal, or a sunset with a feeling of genuine, unconditional love, You are vibrating at the frequency of creation itself. You have an infinite supply of this currency. It can never run out. The more you give, the more you have. You are, in your very essence, a fountain of the most valuable substance in the universe. This audit reveals a profound truth and precipitates a monumental shift in your orientation to life. The primary purpose of your existence is not to acquire things. It is not to fill an inner void with external accolades or possessions. The purpose of your life is to express the magnificent, unique wealth that is already stored within you. You are not a beggar, you are a creator. You are not a consumer, you are a source. The focus of your life shifts from "what can I get?" to a much more powerful and joyful question: what is inside of me that wishes to be expressed? What part of my garden wants to be cultivated and shared today? And here is the secret. External abundance is the natural, inevitable, and effortless byproduct of this authentic self-expression. When you begin to share the jewels of your talents, to build upon the blueprints of your ideas, to water the world with the currency of your love, the universe rushes to support you. It brings you the people, the resources, the money, the physical reflections of the inner wealth you are finally choosing to embody and express. Therefore, you must learn to value your own currency. The world mirrors your own self-valuation with perfect accuracy. If you treat your ideas as worthless, the world will not offer you resources to build them. If you see your talents as trivial hobbies, you will not be presented with opportunities to use them in a powerful way. The change must begin within. Value your own time. Value your own energy. Value your own peace of mind above all else. When you begin to treat your inner assets with the reverence they deserve, the external world has no choice but to follow suit. It will begin to present you with offers, opportunities, and compensation that match the high value you have placed upon your own being. You set the price tag, so stand now in the gateway of your own forgotten garden. The feeling is not one of arrogant pride, but of quiet, solid, unshakable self-possession. You are not empty. You are overflowing. You are not in debt. You are infinitely wealthy. You are not starting a journey to find something. You are beginning the process of revealing what has always been there. This knowing, this deep cellular understanding of your own innate wealth changes everything. But the reaction is not to rush out and start frantically digging. Now that we have opened the gate and audited our inner vault, the next step is a sacred one. It is the art of becoming still, of creating a silent, receptive space where the universe can whisper to us, showing us precisely how this inner wealth is to be expressed, planted, and brought into full bloom. You are now standing at the gateway to your own inner garden, the vault of your being flung wide open. You have taken inventory of the gold of your experiences, the jewels of your talents, the diamonds of your ideas, and the infinite wellspring of love that is your essence. Acknowledging this immeasurable innate wealth is the turning point. The conditioned mind, the part of you trained by the world of effort and struggle, now screams into action. It wants to strategize, to monetize, to plan, to leverage these assets. It immediately begins to chatter, how can we use this? What's the 5-step plan? What should I do now that I know this? It is an understandable impulse. It is also the very impulse that will slam the gate shut once more. The next step on this journey is the most paradoxical, the most courageous, and the most powerful action you can possibly take. It is the action of non-action. It is the profound art of receptive stillness. You have discovered your wealth. Now you must become quiet enough to receive the divine instructions on how it wishes to be expressed. Imagine your relationship with the universe as a conversation between two people. For most of your life, you have been the one doing all the talking. You have been shouting your questions, your desires, and your fears into the cosmos without ever pausing for a reply. Universe, what should I do with my life? Universe, please bring me more money. Universe, why is this happening to me? And then, in the split second after asking, you have immediately filled the silence with the anxious chatter of your own mind. You have started planning, worrying, ruminating, analyzing, and projecting. You have asked a question and then immediately started talking over the one being who holds the answer. You have been having a monologue and calling it a prayer. The universe is a wise, patient, and infinitely intelligent conversationalist. It always answers, but it speaks in a whisper. It does not try to shout over the noise of your ego. It waits, with boundless patience, for you to become quiet enough to hear its response. Receptive stillness is the simple, respectful, and transformative act of creating a pause. It is learning to ask your question and then to shut up. It is the creation of a sacred space in your consciousness, an empty vessel into which guidance can be poured. The frantic planning of the ego is born of the fear that if you don't control everything, it will all fall apart. Receptive stillness is born of a deeper trust, a knowing that a higher intelligence is at play, and your role is not to dictate the plan, but to align with it. When you become still, you are saying to the universe, I trust you, I am listening, I am ready to receive. This act of trust is a powerful signal. It shifts you from the desperate energy of a beggar to the calm, dignified energy of a co-creator. You stop trying to force the river and instead attune your senses to its subtle currents. What are you listening for in this silence? The voice of the universe rarely sounds like a booming pronouncement from the heavens. Its language is far more elegant and intimate. First, you are listening for the feeling of intuition. Intuition is not a thought. A thought is generated by the mind, often accompanied by emotion, argument, and doubt. Intuition arises from a deeper place. It is a quiet, simple knowing. It doesn't argue or defend itself. It simply is. It feels calm, solid, and right, even if it doesn't make logical sense to the analytical mind. It might be a quiet nudge to call a person you haven't spoken to in years, or to take a different route home, or to finally start writing that book. In the noise of daily life, the voice of intuition is easily drowned out. In stillness, it becomes clear. Second, you are listening for the spark of inspiration. Inspiration is a divine idea that seems to land in your mind from out of the blue. It feels energizing, exciting, and expansive. Unlike the heavy ideas born from shoulds and have-tos, an inspired idea feels light and joyful. It is the universe delivering a custom-made blueprint directly to your consciousness, showing you a pathway for expressing your inner wealth that you could never have conceived of with your logical mind alone. These ideas are gifts. Stillness is the act of opening your hands to be able to catch them. Third, you are becoming sensitive enough to recognize synchronicity. When you are still and present, you begin to notice the meaningful coincidences the universe orchestrates for you. The right person calls at the right time. You overhear a conversation that contains the exact answer to a question you've been pondering. You open a book to a random page and find a sentence that speaks directly to your soul. The world becomes a magical, responsive place. These are not random accidents. This is the universe communicating with you through the language of circumstance. When your mind is a frantic, noisy place, you miss these subtle signposts. When you are still, you see the golden thread connecting everything. So how do we practice this art? How do we cultivate this sacred silence in a world that celebrates noise? We begin simply. The most direct path is a formal practice of meditation. Do not think of this as a chore or a spiritual discipline you must master. Think of it as a daily appointment with your wisest advisor. It is you honoring the cosmic conversation. The practice can be as simple as sitting comfortably, closing your eyes, and bringing your gentle attention to the sensation of your breath moving in and out of your body. Your mind will wander. That is what minds do. It will start its chatter, its planning, its worrying. The practice is not to forcefully stop the thoughts. The practice is to notice that your attention has wandered, and then, with the gentleness of a loving parent guiding a child back home, to simply return your focus to the breath. Each time you do this, you are strengthening your stillness muscle. You are practicing the art of letting go of the chatter and returning to the quiet center. The goal is not a mind empty of thoughts, but a state where you are no longer completely swept away by them. You become the calm witness to the thoughts rather than their captive. Beyond a formal practice, you can weave receptive stillness into the fabric of your day. Create sacred pauses. Before you answer the phone, take one conscious breath. Before you start your car, sit for 10 seconds in silence. While waiting for your computer to boot up, instead of reaching for your phone, simply look out the window and notice the shape of a cloud. These are micro-meditations. They are small acts of defiance against the tyranny of constant stimulation. They create pockets of silence, gaps in the noise through which grace can enter. Go into nature. Nature is a cathedral of stillness. The silence of a forest, the rhythmic sound of waves on a shore, the vast expanse of the night sky, these things naturally quiet the chattering ego and attune you to a deeper, more profound frequency. Nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. It is the ultimate teacher of receptive stillness. Be aware that your mind will resist this. The ego is terrified of silence, for in true silence, the ego's illusion of control begins to dissolve. You may feel restless, bored, or agitated when you first try to be still. You may feel an overwhelming urge to do something. Recognize this resistance for what it is: a withdrawal symptom from an addiction to thinking, an addiction to noise. Be patient with yourself. Your task is simply to sit with the restlessness, to watch it without judgment, until it, too, begins to subside, revealing the deep, calm ocean of peace that was always there beneath the choppy waves of the mind. This stillness is not an empty void. It is a plenum. It is a vibrant, intelligent, and fertile emptiness, pregnant with all possibility. It is the womb of creation. It is the canvas upon which the universe paints its masterpieces. By becoming still, you are cleaning the canvas of your own life, making it ready for a new, more beautiful work of art to emerge. And as you sit in this sacred stillness, a new feeling begins to arise, effortlessly. A quiet, warm sense of appreciation. Appreciation for the silence itself, for the clarity it brings, for the wealth you have discovered within your own being. This feeling has a name. It is gratitude. And we will soon discover that this gratitude is not merely a passive, pleasant emotion. It is the most powerful creative magnet in the universe. As you sit in the fertile silence you have cultivated, as you rest in the quiet knowing of your own inner wealth, a feeling begins to blossom naturally from the soil of your stillness. It is a gentle warmth that rises in the chest, a soft smile that touches the lips for no apparent reason. It is a feeling of quiet appreciation. This feeling is the beginning of gratitude. But the gratitude we will now explore is not the polite, mechanical thank you of social conditioning. It is not a duty or a chore. True gratitude is one of the most dynamic, potent, and creative forces in the universe. It is not a passive emotion. It is an active, living frequency. It is the master key that shifts your entire being from a state of seeking to a state of receiving. It is the ultimate magnet for abundance. Imagine your life is a grand, elegant banquet hosted by the universe itself. You are an honored guest seated at a beautiful table. The host, who desires only your delight, begins to serve you dishes. A dish of a breathtaking sunset is placed before you. A dish of a warm, comfortable bed, a dish of clean water to drink, a dish of air to breathe, a dish of a body that, despite its aches and pains, allows you to experience this world. Now, most people at this banquet are so consumed with looking at the menu, worrying about what course is coming next, that they don't even taste the food in front of them. They let the sunset grow cold while they fret about tomorrow's breakfast. Or they glance at the tables of others, complaining that their portion of health looks smaller, or their serving of opportunity doesn't seem as rich. They are at a feast, yet they are starving in their minds, their entire energy focused on what they believe is missing. Now, imagine a different guest. This guest, you, has learned the art of gratitude. When the simple dish of a single deep breath is served, you savor it. You feel the life-giving oxygen fill your lungs. You feel the quiet miracle of it. A silent, heartfelt wave of appreciation is sent to the host. When the dish of a friend's laughter is served, you don't just hear it, you let it fill you with warmth and joy. You appreciate the flavor of connection. With every small blessing, you pause and genuinely acknowledge its goodness. What do you suppose is the host's reaction? A host's greatest delight is to see their gifts truly enjoyed and appreciated. When the host sees your genuine enjoyment, your deep gratitude, it doesn't just keep serving you from the standard menu. It becomes inspired. It rushes back to the divine kitchen and begins to bring out the special dishes, the off-menu delights, the creations reserved only for the most appreciative guests. Opportunities, synchronicities, and blessings of a quality you could not have even imagined begin to arrive at your table, all because you took the time to truly be thankful for what was already there. This is not a quaint story. This is the precise physics of creation. Gratitude is a frequency. It is a vibrational signature. Everything in the universe is energy, and all energy vibrates at a certain frequency. The experience of not having enough has a frequency. It feels like contraction, anxiety, and tightness. The experience of having more than enough also has a frequency. It feels like expansion, peace, and ease. For most of your life, you have been trying to solve the problem of not enough, while vibrating at the frequency of not enough. It cannot be done. You cannot tune your radio to a station broadcasting static and expect to hear a symphony. Gratitude is the tuning knob. It is the cheat code. It allows you to access the feeling, and therefore the frequency, of abundance right now, regardless of your external circumstances. When you feel genuine, heartfelt gratitude for the roof over your head, you are not just being positive, you are vibrating at the frequency of shelter, of safety, of being provided for. The universe, which is a law of resonance, must then bring you more circumstances that match this vibration of being provided for. When you feel gratitude for the $10 in your pocket, instead of despairing that it is not 100, you are vibrating at the frequency of having money. And so, more money must flow to you. Wanting creates more wanting. Gratitude creates more having. It is that simple. It is that profound. The practice of gratitude is the most joyful and rewarding work you will ever do. It is the cultivation of the magnet that will draw all good things to you. Let's begin with the simple act of a gratitude journal, but let us do it with a new depth. Tonight, before you sleep, write down 5 things you are grateful for. Do not simply create a list. With each item, pause, close your eyes, relive the experience. If you are grateful for a warm cup of coffee, remember the feeling of the mug in your hands, the aroma, the taste, the warmth spreading through your body. Actually feel the gratitude. Where does it live in your body? Is it a warmth in your heart center, a lightness in your head, a tingling in your hands? Anchor the feeling in your physical being. This transforms it from a mental exercise into a full-body vibrational alignment. Now, let us move deeper into the practice of gratitude for the mundane. This is where true mastery begins. Your mind is trained to look for the big, flashy events to be grateful for a promotion, a lottery win, a grand gesture. But abundance is woven into the very fabric of your existence in ways so common you have become blind to them. Can you feel a wave of profound gratitude for the miracle of running water, for the genius of electricity that illuminates your room at the flick of a switch, for the chair that is holding your body, preventing you from collapsing to the floor? Can you feel overwhelming thankfulness for your own heart, which has been beating tirelessly for you every second of every day since before you were born, asking for nothing in return? When you begin to find ecstatic gratitude in the so-called small things, two magical things happen. First, you realize you are, and have always been, living in a state of staggering abundance. The feeling of lack dissolves instantly. Second, you are in a state of constant, high-vibration appreciation, turning your entire being into a relentless 24/7 magnet for more blessings. And now, the most advanced and alchemical form of this practice, gratitude for your challenges. This may sound impossible or even cruel, but it is the practice that will make you invincible. You are not being grateful for the pain, the loss, or the hardship itself. You are looking for the gold hidden within the lead of the problem. If you are facing a financial struggle, can you be grateful for the resourcefulness it is forcing you to discover, for the clarity it is giving you about what truly matters, for the opportunity it presents to practice everything you are learning here? If you are navigating a difficult relationship, can you be grateful for the patience it is teaching you, for the way it is showing you your own boundaries? When you can genuinely find something to be grateful for within a challenge, you perform an act of spiritual alchemy. You rob the problem of its power over you. You cease to be a victim of your circumstance and become its student. You are telling the universe, even this I will use for my growth. Even this I recognize as a gift. The universe can only respond to such profound trust by dissolving the challenge and delivering the gift in a more direct form. Finally, practice preemptive gratitude. Give thanks for the good that has not yet manifested in the physical realm. Give thanks for the perfect solution that is already on its way to you. Give thanks for the clients and customers who are looking for you right now. Give thanks for the money that is flowing to you with ease and grace. This is not wishful thinking. This is the highest form of faith. You are aligning with the reality you desire before you have physical evidence of it, thereby collapsing the time it takes to manifest. You are feeling the joy of the answered prayer, which is the very frequency that allows the prayer to be answered. Live in this state. Let gratitude be the first thought upon waking and the last thought before sleeping. Let it be the lens through which you see the world. It is the language of angels, the frequency of miracles, the very heartbeat of an abundant universe. When gratitude becomes your dominant state of being, not just a fleeting emotion, a profound and permanent shift occurs. You no longer feel the need to attract or pull anything toward you. The striving ceases. Instead, you move into a state of pure, open allowing. You are no longer trying to fill a void. You are simply getting out of the way of the good that is already and always flowing toward you. You enter the vibration of allowing. Having steeped our being in the warm magnetic frequency of gratitude, we arrive at the threshold of a new state of consciousness. This state is the natural consequence of a grateful heart, yet it represents a profound and subtle inversion of everything we have been taught about achievement and creation. Our entire culture is built on the language of attraction. We speak of attracting a partner, attracting success, attracting wealth. This language, while well-intentioned, subtly reinforces the illusion of separation. It implies that the things we desire are out there, distant from us, and that we, over here, must generate some kind of energetic tractor beam to pull them into our experience. Today, we graduate from this paradigm of effortful pulling. We move into the gentle, graceful, and infinitely more powerful vibration of allowing. The truth is this: you do not need to attract abundance. You only need to stop resisting it. Imagine you are living in a house that is fully, perfectly wired for electricity. Within the walls, a silent, limitless, and ever-present current of power is humming with potential. This current is the well-being of the universe, the natural state of abundance, the flow of all good. Your desires for health, joy, clarity, and welfare like the appliances in this house. A lamp to bring light, a heater for warmth, a radio to play beautiful music. These appliances are perfectly designed to run on the power that already exists. Now, for years you have been holding the plug of your lamp in your hand, wondering why the room is dark. You have studied the plug, polished it, worried that its prongs are not worthy of the socket. You have stared at the wall, demanding that the electricity prove itself to you before you commit to plugging in. You have tried to generate your own light by rubbing sticks together, exhausting yourself in the belief that creating light must be a struggle. The entire time, the power has been waiting, humming patiently in the walls. Allowing is the simple, effortless, and revolutionary act of plugging in. It is the cessation of all struggle. It is the understanding that the power is already here, and your only work is to become an open channel for it. So, if allowing is this simple, why is it not our default state? It is because we, as human beings, are masterful builders of dams. The great river of abundance is constantly flowing toward us, but we have spent a lifetime erecting complex, elaborate structures of resistance in its path, wondering all the while why our fields are dry. To enter the vibration of allowing, we must first become aware of the dams we have built. The first and largest is the dam of doubt. This is the intellectual resistance, the voice of the inner skeptic that says, "This is too good to be true. I will believe it when I see it." This single belief is the most effective abundance blocker in existence, for the universe operates on the precise opposite principle. You will see it when you believe it. Or more accurately, you will see it when you feel it. Your feeling state of trust and openness is the act of plugging in. Demanding proof before you trust is like demanding the lamp light up before you connect it to the current. The universe cannot violate its own laws to appease your doubt. It waits for you to make the first move, a move not of action, but of surrender. You must be willing to feel the peace of being provided for before the evidence arrives. Next is the insidious dam of unworthiness. This is the deep, often unconscious feeling that you are not good enough to receive the good you desire. It is the whisper that says, "Who are you to have such a wonderful life? You don't deserve it. You have made too many mistakes." This feeling is a direct contradiction to the truth of your own inner vault, the infinite garden you carry within you. Feeling unworthy is like believing your beautiful, perfectly functional lamp is somehow unfit for the electricity that is offered freely to all appliances. The current does not judge the lamp. It does not check its credentials or its past performance. Its nature is simply to flow to whatever is open to receive it. Your worthiness is not something you earn. It is inherent in your very existence. To dismantle this dam, you must continually return to the truth of your innate wealth, to see yourself as the universe sees you, a beloved, deserving, and essential part of itself. Then there is the formidable dam of fear. This dam has many forms. There is the fear of failure. What if I allow myself to hope and I am disappointed again? This fear keeps you holding the plug, preferring the familiar darkness of struggle to the potential pain of a failed connection. But there is also the subtle and powerful fear of success. What if I get everything I want? Can I handle it? Will people treat me differently? Will I lose it? This fear keeps you playing small, because the vastness of your own potential power is terrifying to the ego, which loves the familiar. Fear, in all its forms, is a state of energetic contraction. It tightens your body, constricts your mind, and closes your heart. It is the energetic equivalent of wrapping the plug in thick rubber insulation. No current can get through. Allowing requires a state of expansion, of openness, of vulnerability. It requires the courage to be open to both success and failure, trusting that the universal flow will carry you perfectly through either experience. Finally, there is the dam of control. This is the resistance of the anxious mind that needs to know the how, the when, and the where. It is the belief that you must manage the entire process. This is like trying to micromanage the flow of electrons through the copper wiring of your house. It is an impossible, absurd, and exhausting task. The infinite intelligence of the universe has pathways, solutions, and connections available that your conscious mind cannot even begin to conceive of. When you try to control the how, you limit the universe to only the pathways you can see, which are infinitesimally small in number. Allowing is the release of this need to control. It is a profound act of humility, an admission that you are the appliance, not the power station. Your job is to stay plugged in, trusting that the power knows how to reach you. So what does it feel like to be in a state of allowing? It is not a state of manic, forced positivity. It is much quieter, much deeper. It feels, above all, like a great exhale. It is the physical sensation of releasing a breath you didn't even realize you were holding. Feel your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your stomach soften. It is a state of physical and emotional openness. It feels like trust. It is a quiet confidence, a serene knowing that things are unfolding for your highest good, even if the outer world has not yet caught up. There is a neutrality to it. You are not desperate for an outcome because your joy is not dependent on it. Your joy comes from the feeling of being connected to the current itself. You are at peace. The practice, then, is to consciously and deliberately invoke this feeling. Throughout your day, pause. Take a deep breath, and, as you exhale, consciously let go of your need to control. Unclench your hands, soften your body, say to yourself, I am open, I am receptive. I release my resistance and allow my good to flow to me. It is crucial to understand that allowing is not passivity. It is not an excuse to do nothing. It is a state of receptive readiness. When you are plugged in, the lamp doesn't just sit there, it shines. When you are in a state of allowing, you are perfectly positioned to receive and act upon the inspired action we spoke of earlier. The impulse to act will arise within you, not from a place of fear or should, but from a place of clear, joyful, and effortless knowing. It will feel like the next logical step, not a monumental effort. You are no longer pushing the car, you are in the driver's seat, and the engine is running smoothly. This state of allowing is the essence of grace. It is the end of the war with yourself and with the world. It is the discovery that the universe has been on your side all along, patiently waiting for you to lay down your weapons of resistance and simply receive the love, support, and abundance that is your birthright. It is the peace that passes all understanding. This state of allowing is one of profound trust. It is a peaceful surrender to a higher intelligence, but this trust is immediately tested the moment our anxious minds begin to demand a roadmap. To truly live in the vibration of allowing, to keep the dams from being rebuilt brick by brick, we must master the next essential art, the art of detaching from the how. We have stepped into the gentle, open, and powerful vibration of allowing. We have felt the profound relief of ceasing our resistance, of taking our hands off the controls, and simply being. We have plugged ourselves into the universal current. But it is here, in this beautiful, open space, that the ego mounts its most subtle and ferocious counterattack. It is here that we face the tyranny of the strategic mind. The moment you define a clear desire, the moment you allow yourself to feel the joy of a wish fulfilled, the mind immediately injects its poison of doubt, disguised as practicality. A single, insidious question rises up, a question that has extinguished more dreams than any other in the history of humankind. But how? How is that even possible? How will the money come? How will I meet that person? How can I get from where I am now to where I want to be? This question, and the frantic, anxious search for an immediate answer, is the single greatest saboteur of the allowing state. It is the ego's desperate attempt to regain control. It is the force that immediately begins to rebuild the dams of resistance brick by brick. To truly live in effortless abundance, we must learn the sacred art of releasing our attachment to the how. Imagine you go online to order a product that you deeply desire. You find the item, you feel the joy of knowing it will soon be yours, and you confidently click the confirm order button. In that moment, your job is complete. You have successfully declared your what. Now, behind the scenes, a vast and infinitely complex logistics company gets to work. This company, let's call it Universe Inc., has a network of warehouses, airplanes, trucks, and delivery drivers that spans the entire globe. It has sophisticated tracking systems and logistical pathways that are far beyond your comprehension. Its only goal is to deliver your package to you in the most efficient and surprising way possible. Now, imagine if, after placing your order, you spent every moment in a state of anxiety. Imagine calling the company's head office and demanding to speak to the warehouse manager to approve how your package is boxed. Imagine insisting on dictating the specific flight path the cargo plane must take, or demanding the delivery driver follow a specific street-by-street route that you've mapped out, simply because it's the only route you know. How absurd would that be? You would be seen as a nuisance, a micromanager who is actually hindering the delivery process with your own limited knowledge and interference. Yet, this is precisely what we do with our desires. We place our order with the universe, and then we spend all our energy trying to orchestrate the delivery. We insist that the money must come from a promotion at our current job, because that's the only delivery route we can see. We insist that we must meet our perfect partner at a specific type of place, because that's the only warehouse we know. We try to map out every single step from A to Z, and when we can't see a clear, logical path based on our past experiences, we panic. We cancel the order. We conclude it is impossible. The obsession with the how is born from the profound arrogance of the human mind, which believes that its limited perspective is all that exists. You must understand this. Your mind can only create from the materials of its own past. It is a magnificent filing cabinet of everything you have ever seen, learned, and experienced. When you ask it how to achieve something new, it can only offer you solutions based on old data. It is like trying to build a rocket ship using only the blueprints for a horse-drawn carriage. The mind is a tool for navigating the reality you are in, not for creating a reality that has never been. The universe, on the other hand, operates from the quantum field of infinite potentiality. It is not bound by your past or anyone else's. It can create pathways that have never existed. It can arrange meetings, opportunities, and solutions that defy all logic. It can see the entire map, while you can only see the road directly in front of you. When you demand to control the how, you are forcing this infinite creative intelligence to squeeze itself through the tiny, constricted filter of your personal history. You are asking for a miracle, but insisting it be delivered in a familiar cardboard box. Detaching from the how is the ultimate act of faith. It is the declaration that you are open to receiving your good in ways that are far more magical, brilliant, and efficient than you could ever strategize or force. So how do we practice this release? How do we untangle ourselves from the need to know? We begin by shifting our focus. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to get crystal clear on the what, and even more importantly, the why. The what is the end result. I am living in a state of financial freedom. I am in a loving, joyful relationship. I am vibrantly healthy and full of energy. The why is the feeling behind the what. Why do you want financial freedom? For the feeling of peace, of security, of generosity. Why do you want a loving relationship? For the feeling of connection, of being seen, of shared joy. This feeling state, this why, is your true destination. The what is just a symbol of it. Focus all your energy on cultivating this feeling, on living in the emotional state of the wish fulfilled. The how is simply the vehicle the universe will select to drive you to the destination you have chosen. You don't need to know the model of the car or the route it will take. You only need to enjoy the feeling of having already arrived. A powerful physical practice to facilitate this release is to create what many call a God box or a universe box. Find a beautiful box, one that feels special to you. When a desire arises, write it down on a piece of paper. Be as specific as you like about the what and the why. Then, as you fold the paper and place it in the box, perform a small ceremony of release. Say aloud or to yourself, "This is no longer my concern. I release the how and the when to an intelligence far greater than my own. My work is done. Thank you." The physical act of closing the lid on the box serves as a powerful symbol to your subconscious mind that the responsibility has been transferred. Now, whenever you feel the anxiety about the how creeping back in, you can simply touch the box and remind yourself it's being handled. Another potent mental tool is to attach a simple, liberating phrase to all your desires, or something better. I am open to receiving this specific job, or something better. I intend to manifest this beautiful home, or something better. This phrase is a key that unlocks the grip of your ego. It keeps you open. It acknowledges that your limited vision might actually be selling yourself short. The universe may have a job in mind for you that is beyond your wildest dreams, or a home that is more perfect for you than the one you are fixated on. This mantra transforms rigid expectation into joyful curiosity. You are no longer demanding a specific outcome. You are co-creating with a benevolent force, trusting that it has your highest good at heart. You can also practice pivoting your anxiety into anticipation. The moment the thought, "But how will it happen?" arises, consciously reframe it. Shift your internal voice from one of worry to one of wonder. I wonder how the universe will orchestrate this. I can't wait to see the clever and surprising ways this will unfold. This simple shift turns a journey of anxiety into a thrilling adventure. You become an excited spectator of your own life, watching for the magic instead of fearing the void. This trust is a muscle. It will feel weak at first. You will let go of the how for 5 minutes, only to find yourself obsessively grabbing onto it again. Be gentle with yourself. This is a deep, cultural, and personal conditioning. Each time you notice yourself trying to control the delivery, and you consciously choose to release it again, you are doing another repetition. You are strengthening the muscle of faith. Over time, it will become your default state. You will witness the universe deliver your desires in the most unexpected and perfect ways, and your trust will solidify into an unshakable knowing. This is true freedom. It is the release of a burden you were never meant to carry. It is giving the impossible task of being God back to God. When you truly master this profound art of detachment, when you entrust the logistics of your life to this infinite intelligence, your relationship with the universe fundamentally transforms. You are no longer a passive recipient or a desperate petitioner praying to a distant power. You step into a new, sacred, and empowered role, the role of a conscious co-creator. Having released the tremendous burden of the how, having surrendered the impossible task of managing the universe to the universe itself, you do not find yourself in a state of passive weakness. You find yourself in a position of ultimate power. You have graduated. The old paradigm of a small, wanting self praying to a distant, separate God is over. The model of the petitioner begging for favors from an all-powerful monarch has dissolved. By letting go of what was never your job, you are now free to step fully into the role you were born to play. This is a sacred and profound shift in identity, from a supplicant to a partner, from a servant to a sovereign. You are now ready to consciously engage in the grand and joyful dance of co-creation with the universe as your equal, trusted, and infinitely capable partner. Let us explore this new relationship through a new metaphor. Imagine that you are the conductor of a magnificent cosmic orchestra. Before you stands an ensemble comprised of every particle of existence. Every person on the planet, every institution, every dollar, every atom is a musician in this orchestra, a master of their own unique instrument. The laws of physics, the principles of mathematics, the currents of finance, they are all virtuosos waiting for a clear direction. And you are the conductor. You do not play the violin, nor the cello, nor the trumpet. To attempt to do so would be a clumsy and inefficient use of your energy. It is not your role to create the individual notes. Your role is far more important. Your role is to hold the vision for the entire symphony. In your hands, you hold the musical score. This score is your clear, unwavering intention, the what that you have defined. But a score is just ink on a page until it is infused with life. And so, with the baton of your focus and the energy of your feeling state, you begin. The why, the feeling of joy, peace, or freedom you desirize, the emotion you convey to your musicians. It is the passion in your posture, the grace in your movement. You set the tempo. Is this creation a joyful, rapid allegro or a serene, flowing adagio? The orchestra does not question your direction, it only responds to it. When you conduct with clarity, passion, and unwavering faith in your musicians, they respond with a flawless, harmonious performance. The music that swells and fills the concert hall of your life is the manifested reality, a perfect, resonant reflection of the vision you held and the feeling you embodied. You did not force the music. You did not struggle to create it. You evoked it. You allowed it to flow through you and through the orchestra in a perfect, collaborative masterpiece. This is your new role. You are the visionary. You are the one who provides the divine spark of desire and feeling. The universe is your master orchestra, handling all the complex instrumentation with effortless grace. This co-creative partnership is governed by a sacred agreement with clear responsibilities for both parties. To be a masterful conductor, you must honor your part of the contract. Your first responsibility is clarity of vision. The orchestra cannot play a blurry, indecisive score. A vague intention like, "I want more money," is like waving your hands randomly and hoping for beautiful music. It creates only a cacophony. You must be clear. What does more money feel like? It feels like freedom. It feels like security. It feels like generosity. It feels like ease. Now the orchestra understands. The score is not titled More Money. It is titled A Symphony of Freedom and Ease. This clarity is an act of deep introspection. What do you truly wish to experience? Get clear on that vision. Write it down, feel it, see it. It is the blueprint you hand to your creative partner. Your second responsibility is to provide the emotional fuel. As we have learned, your feeling state is the currency of the cosmos. It is the energy that brings the score to life. You must be willing to feel the triumphant joy of the final crescendo before the first note is even played. You must feel the profound peace of the symphony's resolution while the orchestra is still tuning up. This is the act of living in the wish fulfilled. It is your most crucial contribution. By generating the feeling of your answered prayer, You are providing the very energetic charge that the orchestra uses to play its music. A lackluster, doubtful feeling creates a weak and discordant sound. A powerful, certain and joyful feeling creates a masterpiece that shakes the very heavens. Your third, and perhaps most challenging responsibility, is unwavering faith. You must trust your musicians. You must know without a shadow of a doubt that the first violinist is a master of the violin, that the percussion section knows exactly when to strike the cymbals. To stand on the podium and worry whether the musicians know how to read music is a profound insult to their mastery. This is what you do when you doubt the universe. Doubt, worry, and fear are the energetic equivalent of you stopping the symphony mid-phrase to lecture a master musician on their technique. It breaks the flow, creates confusion, and brings the entire performance to a halt. Your faith is your stillness, your trust in the process. It is the calm confidence you exude that allows the orchestra to perform at its peak. Finally, your fourth responsibility is inspired action. The conductor is not a static statue. There are moments in the score where you must give a clear cue, a decisive downbeat to begin a new movement. This is your dance with the universe. As you hold the vision and the feeling, the universe will arrange circumstances and send you a signal, an intuitive nudge, an idea, an opportunity. This is your cue. Your responsibility is to act on it without hesitation. This is not the forced action of the man rowing upstream. This is the joyful, effortless action of the conductor giving the downbeat, knowing it is the perfect next step in the unfolding masterpiece. And what of the universe's role in this agreement? Its responsibilities are vast, and it fulfills them perfectly every time. Its job is to be the master logistician. It manages the infinite switchboard of reality, connecting you with the perfect people, ideas, and resources at the precise right moment. It is the master of divine timing and synchronicity. It arranges the chance encounter with a future business partner. It makes you turn on the radio just in time to hear a song that contains the answer to your question. It inspires someone across the world to create a technology that will one day solve your problem. The universe mobilizes resources from places you did not even know existed. It sees the entire picture, the interconnectedness of all things, and it orchestrates all the moving parts with an intelligence that is beyond our comprehension. Its only requirement from you is a clear and steady signal. It cannot work with a conductor who changes the symphony every 5 minutes, or whose emotional broadcast is riddled with the static of doubt. This is the dance of co-creation. It is a constant feedback loop of exquisite beauty. You broadcast your clear vision and your elevated feeling. The universe receives this and begins to rearrange the quantum field to match it. It then sends back a reflection, a sign, a synchronicity, an intuitive nudge. You receive this cue and you act on it, which in turn broadcasts an even stronger, more confident signal of faith back to the universe. And so the symphony builds, crescendo by crescendo, each partner responding to the other in a perfect, harmonious flow. You are not a lonely soul struggling against the odds. You are a magnificent, necessary, and beloved partner in the ongoing act of creation. Your desires are not selfish or frivolous. They are divine impulses, seeking to be expressed through you. The universe doesn't just tolerate your desires, it celebrates them, for it is through your unique dreams that the universe experiences and expresses new facets of its own infinite potential. You are its way of experiencing life as you. To be a clear and powerful co-creator, however, our channel of communication with our divine partner must be clean. We cannot conduct a symphony of abundance through an instrument clogged with the static of old pain. A conductor holding a lifetime of resentment cannot evoke a symphony of joy. Before we can confidently build the new reality, we must first gently clear the debris of the old. We must now turn our full attention to the sacred, and often neglected work of healing the wounds of scarcity. We have stepped into our power as the conductor, the visionary, the conscious co-creator in a divine partnership with the universe. We hold the score of our desires, and we understand that our feeling state is the energy that brings the symphony of our life into being. This is a profound and empowering truth. Yet, many of you may find that despite your best efforts to hold a clear vision and a high vibration, there seems to be a ghost in the machine, a strange static on the line. You conduct the orchestra of joy, but a discordant note of anxiety keeps sounding from the shadows. You try to feel ease, but a deep, familiar hum of tension persists. This is not a failure of your creative power. It is simply the feedback from an unhealed wound. Before we can build a towering skyscraper of abundance, we must first attend to the cracked and broken foundations upon which we stand. We must now turn with great tenderness and courage to the sacred work of healing the wounds of scarcity. Imagine your consciousness, your potential for abundance, is a magnificent ancient tree. Your desires to grow, to flourish, to bear fruit are natural and beautiful. You diligently water its leaves with positive affirmations. You ensure it gets plenty of sunlight through visualization and meditation, and yet the tree remains frail. Its growth is stunted, its leaves are pale, and it bears little fruit. The problem is not with the water or the sun. The problem lies unseen, beneath the surface, in the root system. Long ago, perhaps in the early storms of your childhood or the droughts of your young adulthood, the roots of this tree were damaged. A business failure created a deep, gnarled root of fear. A childhood spent in a household of constant financial anxiety created a tangled root system of chronic lack. A painful betrayal over money created a severed, mistrustful root. An experience of shame around debt created a diseased root of guilt and unworthiness. These damaged roots, buried deep in the soil of your subconscious, cannot effectively draw nourishment. No matter how much the rain of universal abundance pours down, the tree remains thirsty. Our work now is not to water the leaves more frantically, but to get on our hands and knees, to gently clear the soil, and to bring healing light to the roots themselves. This is gentle work. It does not require you to relive your trauma in vivid detail. It only requires your honest, compassionate awareness. Let us, in this safe and sacred space, begin to diagnose the specific wounds you may be carrying. Let's start with your earliest imprints. Take a slow, deep breath. Travel back in your memory to the first time you were aware of money as a concept. What was the feeling in your home when money was discussed? Was it a feeling of ease, of generosity, of sufficiency? Or was it a feeling of tension, of hushed, worried arguments, of a constant, unspoken tightness? The words we can't afford that are not just a statement of fact. They are a powerful, energetic seed. Heard repeatedly by a child, they grow into the belief, there is not enough, and I cannot have what I desire. What messages did you receive about wealthy people? Were they seen as smart, creative, and generous, or as greedy, dishonest, and corrupt? These early imprints form the very soil in which your tree has grown. Now, let your awareness drift to your own life experiences. Bring to mind, gently, a financial event from your past that still carries an emotional charge, a significant loss, a business that did not succeed, a time of deep debt or struggle. You do not need to replay the story. Simply notice the feeling that arises in your body now as you touch upon that memory. Is it a familiar tightness in your throat, a heavy weight in your chest, a sick knot in your stomach? This physical sensation is the present-day echo of the past wound. It is the scar tissue that constricts the flow of energy. Acknowledge it without judgment. This is the energy that has been silently conducting its own discordant symphony in the background of your life, sabotaging your conscious efforts to create abundance. It is the frequency of it happened before, and it will happen again that has been overriding your new frequency of hope and trust. The treatment for these wounds is not complex, but it requires radical self-compassion. The healing balm is made of two ingredients: validation and forgiveness. The first step is to validate the pain. Look back at that younger version of you who experienced that loss, that failure, that shame. See them in your mind's eye, and instead of criticizing them for their choices, instead of berating them for not knowing better, simply offer them your validation. Say to them, "I see you. That was incredibly difficult. The fear you felt was real. The shame you carried was heavy. Your feelings were valid." In this moment of pure validation, the inner war stops. You cease to be your own accuser, and you become your own compassionate witness. This act alone releases a tremendous amount of trapped energy. The second step is to offer that past self your deep, unconditional compassion. See that younger you and understand that they did the absolute best they could with the awareness, the knowledge, and the emotional tools they had at that time. They were navigating in the dark. Surround that version of you with a warm golden light. Give them the hug, the reassurance, the words of comfort that they so desperately needed then but perhaps never received. Tell them, you are forgiven, you are loved, you are safe now. The struggle is over. From this place of compassion, we can now perform the most powerful act of alchemy: true forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened. It is not about saying an injustice was acceptable. Forgiveness is a pragmatic act of energetic liberation. It is you making the choice to cut the cord that binds you to a painful past. As long as you hold resentment towards a person or a situation, you are tethered to that low-frequency energy. You are allowing an event from the past to continuously poison your present moment. To forgive another is to say, "I am no longer willing to sacrifice my present peace and my future joy on the altar of your past transgression. I release you. I take my power back." Even more critical is the act of forgiving yourself. You must forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. You must forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. Every perceived failure was a lesson you paid for. To refuse to forgive yourself is to refuse to accept the wisdom from that lesson. It is time to graduate. Extend the same grace to yourself that you would to a beloved friend. You are worthy of your own forgiveness. Let us seal this healing with a conscious act of release. Close your eyes. Bring to mind the feeling of one of these old wounds. See it or feel it as a dark, heavy energy within your body. Now, take a deep, powerful breath in, breathing in pure, white, healing light. As you exhale, visualize that dark, heavy energy leaving your body with the breath. See it dissolving into the light, being neutralized by the infinite love of the universe. With each breath, you are lighter. With each exhale, you are freer. You are consciously cleansing the channels of your being. You are healing the roots of your tree, allowing them to become soft, supple, and ready to receive the nourishment that is all around you. As we perform this sacred work, as we bravely face our past and bathe it in the light of our present awareness, something miraculous happens. The wounds lose their emotional charge. The stories lose their power. They become memories, not active presences. The static on the line begins to clear. The discordant notes fade. The channel to our co-creative partner becomes crystal clear. And as we heal these wounds and release the heavy emotional baggage they carried, the way we perceive money itself begins to fundamentally change. It ceases to be a weapon that hurt us, a symbol of our past failures, or a source of fear and anxiety. We can finally strip it of its menacing power and see it for what it truly is: a neutral, malleable, and obedient form of energy, ready to serve our highest intentions. Having journeyed with great courage into the tender landscapes of the past, having bathed our old wounds in the light of compassion and forgiveness, we emerge lighter. The channel is clearer. The static that once distorted our broadcast to the universe has faded, leaving a clean, resonant silence. In this newfound clarity, we are now able to look upon the concept of money and see it for the very first time. For most of human history, money has not been seen. It has been projected upon. It is a blank screen upon which we have projected our greatest fears, our most desperate desires, our deepest insecurities, and our most cherished hopes. It has been cast in the role of a demon, the root of all evil. It has been worshipped as a savior, the key to all happiness. It has been branded a corrupting force, a necessary evil, a symbol of power, a mark of sin. These roles, these costumes, are the projections of our own unhealed wounds. Today, we wipe the screen clean. We will strip money of the heavy, tangled robes of our collective story and see it for what it truly is, a neutral, obedient, and powerful form of energy. Let us begin by dismantling the old, false idols. The most pervasive of these is the belief that money is the root of all evil. This phrase, often misquoted, has been used for centuries to instill a sense of guilt and shame around the pursuit and possession of wealth. It creates a profound inner conflict. We need it to survive and thrive, yet we are told it is inherently wicked. Let us correct the record. Money has never been the root of evil. The unbridled love of money, placed above integrity, above compassion, above love for our fellow human beings, that is a path that can lead to evil actions. But the issue is not the tool. It is the consciousness of the one who wields it. A hammer can be used to build a home for a family or to break a window. Is the hammer evil? Or is the intention of the user the determining factor? The energy of money is no different. Then there is the twin belief that money corrupts. This implies that money has an active, malevolent agency, that it can seize a good person and turn them sour. This too is a projection. Money does not corrupt, it reveals. Money is an amplifier. It is a magnifying glass. It simply makes you more of who you already are. If a person is fundamentally greedy, insecure, and unkind, a large sum of money will amplify those traits, making their greed and unkindness more visible and impactful on the world. If a person is fundamentally generous, compassionate, and creative, a large sum of money will amplify those traits, allowing them to express their generosity and creativity on a much grander scale. Money has no power to change your character. It only gives your existing character a bigger stage to play on. The fear that money will corrupt you is often a deeper fear that you yourself are corruptible. As you heal and come to trust your own inner goodness, the fear of money dissolves. We also project onto money the role of our ultimate savior, believing that money is security. While financial resources can certainly create comfort and reduce certain types of stress, true, abiding security is an inner state. It is a feeling of trust in the flow of life, a deep knowing that you are always provided for. There are countless stories of people with immense fortunes who live in a state of constant paranoid fear, terrified of losing what they have. Their money has not brought them security. It has only given them more to be afraid of. Conversely, there are those with very modest means who possess a profound sense of peace and security, rooted in their faith and their connection to a source deeper than a bank account. By seeing money as neutral, we stop making it responsible for our emotional state. We take back the power and responsibility for creating our own inner security, regardless of external circumstances. To truly grasp this neutrality, let us use a clear metaphor. Think of money as a powerful, neutral electric current. This current flows silently, carrying no agenda, no morality, no preference. Now, imagine this current flowing into a hospital. In the hands of a skilled and compassionate surgeon, this neutral energy powers a life-saving machine, performs a delicate operation, and restores a person to health. The outcome is beautiful, a blessing. Now, imagine that same neutral current being diverted to a different location into the hands of someone with malicious intent. The same energy could be used to power a tool of destruction. Is the electricity to blame? Did the current become good in the hospital and become evil elsewhere? Of course not. The energy was, and always remains, perfectly neutral. Its effect was determined entirely by the consciousness, the intention, and the actions of the person directing its flow. Money is precisely this current. The very same dollars that could be used to fund a war could, in another's hands, be used to build a school, feed the hungry, or fund a breakthrough in clean energy. The money does not care. It only asks, "What is your command?" We can also see money as a lump of perfectly malleable, neutral clay. Left on its own, it is simply a formless potential. It has no shape, no purpose, no identity. It waits for the hands of a potter. You are the potter. With your intentions, beliefs, and feelings, you shape this clay. You can shape it into a beautiful vase to hold the flowers of your joy. You can shape it into bricks to build a shelter for your family. You can shape it into a bowl to share food with your community. Or, from a place of fear and anger, you could shape it into a hard, crude weapon. The clay is always innocent. It only ever takes the form of the consciousness that molds it. For too long, we have been blaming the clay for the shapes it has been molded into by fearful or unconscious hands. Our task is to become conscious and intentional potters. This understanding precipitates a revolutionary shift in your relationship with money. For most of your life, whether you realized it or not, money has been your master. Your mood was dictated by the numbers on a screen. Your decisions about your career, your passions, and your freedom were controlled by its perceived presence or absence. You were, in effect, a servant to the whims of this perceived power. But now you see the truth. Money is not the master, you are. It is a tool. It is a resource. It is an obedient, energetic servant that has no will of its own. It only ever responds to your direction. Feel this shift in your body. Feel the power dynamic reverse. You no longer fear it. You no longer worship it. You see it for the simple, useful tool that it is, like a hammer or a shovel in your hand. You respect its power, but you are in charge. You are the master, and it is the servant. This new understanding comes with a beautiful and empowering responsibility. Since money will only amplify who you are, it becomes a powerful invitation to become the highest and best version of yourself. The more you cultivate your own integrity, your own kindness, your own generosity and creativity, the more powerfully money can and will serve those magnificent qualities when it flows to you. You no longer seek money to fix a flaw in yourself. You cultivate the wholeness within yourself, knowing that money will then flow to you to amplify that wholeness for the good of all. This realization is profoundly liberating. We have demystified money. We have stripped it of all the superstitious fear, the unwarranted guilt, and the projected power we have burdened it with for centuries. It stands before us now, clean, simple, and clear. A neutral, powerful, and obedient energy awaiting our conscious command. Now that we understand the nature of this energy, we are no longer afraid to call it, to hold it, and to direct it. We can now pick up the most powerful tool we have for shaping this energy, the tool that builds the blueprint for all of creation, the sanctified imagination. We have journeyed far, we have healed the wounds of the past, and have stripped the concept of money of its false power, seeing it at last for what it is, a neutral, obedient, and abundant form of energy. It is the clay awaiting the potter's hand. It is the current awaiting direction. The question that now hangs in the silence is a beautiful one. Who is the potter? Who directs the current? The answer is the secret that mystics and sages have guarded for millennia, the truth that is the birthright of every human being. The creative power that shapes the neutral energy of the universe is your own magnificent human imagination. We are now entering the workshop of God, the sculptor's studio, the very place where worlds are born. And you are the master artisan. Let us be clear. The imagination we speak of is not the idle daydreaming or wishful thinking that our culture has relegated to the realm of children and unproductive artists. Idle fantasy is watching a movie of a life you wish you had. You are a spectator, separate from the action. The sanctified imagination is the act of stepping into the movie. It is the art of participating in the dream from a first-person perspective, as if it were a solid, tangible reality. This is the crucial distinction. One is passive observation, the other is active creation. An imaginal act, held with feeling and conviction, is not a flight of fancy. It is a spiritual fact on the creative plane of causation, which will, by an immutable law of consciousness, project itself onto the screen of your physical world. This is the great secret. Your outer world is a delayed and filtered reflection of the sustained activity within your imagination. The universe does not bring you what you want. It brings you who you are being in your imagination. Once you successfully perform a creative act in your imagination, feeling its reality, the universe must conspire to make it so. It does this by building what the great mystic Neville Goddard called the bridge of incidents. A series of events, conversations, opportunities, and coincidences will begin to unfold in your life. To an outside observer, your success will look perfectly natural, even lucky. But you will know that these events are not random. They are the inevitable unfolding of the bridge you first constructed in your imagination, leading you from where you were to the fulfillment of your desire. Your only job is to walk across the bridge with faith. Let us return to our metaphor of the sculptor's studio. The entire quantum field, the unseen world, is filled with a formless, pliable substance. This is the raw, neutral energy we have spoken of. You, as the conscious creator, are the master sculptor. Your tools are not a hammer and chisel, but your own spiritual senses, your ability to see, hear, touch, smell, and taste within your mind. When you decide upon a reality, you wish to create a state of financial freedom. For example, you are not merely thinking about the finished statue. You are entering the studio and beginning the work. You pick up the formless clay. You feel its texture. In your mind's eye, you see the shape you desire. You walk around your imaginal creation, observing it from all angles, making it more detailed, more real, more solid. You are not a spectator watching a statue being made. You are the sculptor, with your hands deep in the creative substance of life. What is it that makes this imaginal sculpture harden and become a physical reality? What is the firing process that turns the soft clay into a solid, unbreakable form? It is a single, powerful ingredient, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the feeling of naturalness, of satisfaction, of it is done. Once you have molded your scene in imagination, you must then breathe the life of feeling into it. You must feel the relief, the peace, the joy, or the simple, quiet satisfaction of that reality being your normal, everyday life. This feeling is the catalyst. It is the chemical reaction that solidifies the mold. Once the mold is perfectly formed and held in place by your conviction, the universe has no choice but to pour the liquid substance of physical reality into it. The world must conform to the blueprint you have perfected within. Let us now walk through the practical technique of this creative act, so that you may leave this space not just as a philosopher, but as a practitioner. This is how you sculpt reality. First, you must define your scene. Your aim is not to imagine the entire story from beginning to end. That is too complex and invites doubt. Your task is to construct one short, simple, specific scene which implies that your desire has already been fulfilled. If your desire is for wealth, do not imagine a lottery win or a check arriving in the mail. That is the how, and we have already learned to release that. Instead, Imagine a scene that takes place after the fulfillment. Perhaps you are having a conversation with a loved one, and they say to you, "I am so happy for your incredible success," and you feel the simple warmth of their words. Perhaps you are looking at your online bank account, not at a shocking, unbelievable number, but at a balance that simply makes you feel a deep, calm sense of peace and security. Perhaps you are effortlessly paying for a beautiful meal for your entire family, feeling only the joy of generosity. The scene must be short, sensory, and imply the desire is already a fact. Second, you must enter the proper creative state. The most fertile state for imaginal acts is what is called the state akin to sleep, or SATS. This is the drowsy, relaxed, meditative state you naturally enter just before you fall asleep at night, and for a few moments after you awaken in the morning. In this state, the loud, critical, conscious mind is subdued. The walls of doubt are thin. The gateway to the subconscious mind, the creative womb where realities are conceived, is wide open. This is your studio time. Third, once in this drowsy, receptive state, you inhabit your scene. You bring your predetermined scene to mind, and you loop it over and over, like a short, repeating GIF. But you must experience it in the first person. You are not watching a movie of yourself. You are the actor. See the world through your own eyes. If your scene is a friend congratulating you, feel their hand on your shoulder. Hear their specific voice with its unique tone and inflection, speaking the words to you. See the expression on their face through your own eyes. Feel your own emotional response of gratitude and peace. Make it as vivid and as real as possible, engaging all your imaginal senses. Fourth, as you loop the scene, your aim is to evoke the feeling of reality. This is the most crucial step. You are not trying to create a feeling of ecstatic shock or surprise. You are aiming for a much quieter, more powerful feeling, the feeling of naturalness. You repeat the scene until it begins to feel normal. The initial excitement fades and is replaced by a calm satisfaction, a feeling of, yes, of course, this is my life now. This feeling of doneness, of quiet conviction, is the signal that the creative act is successful. The clay has hardened. The seed has been successfully planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious. Finally, you release it. Once you have captured the feeling, you let the scene go. You fall asleep, dwelling in that feeling of satisfaction. You do not worry about it the next day. You do not strain to make it happen. You have done your work in the sculptor's studio. Your job is now to walk out of the studio and trust that the physical world will begin to rearrange itself to conform to the blueprint you have created. You have planted the seed. You do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You simply water it with your continued faith. This is the power you wield. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are their creator. Your imagination is the womb of reality. What you gestate there through sustained, feeling-toned attention, you will inevitably give birth to in your world. This creative power of the sanctified imagination is absolute, but it has one final gatekeeper. One condition must be met for the door to the imaginal act to open without resistance. You must feel, deep in your bones, that you are worthy of the beautiful reality you are creating. For if you try to imagine a symphony of abundance while your subconscious whispers that you deserve only silence, you are creating a house divided against itself, which cannot stand. We must now turn and face the final great lie, the illusion that you must somehow earn your worthiness. We have arrived at the heart of the matter, the very source code from which all beliefs of lack and limitation are programmed. We have discovered the awesome, world-creating power of our own imagination, and we have learned that we can sculpt reality with our feeling-toned thoughts. But we also saw that there is a gatekeeper standing before the door to this creative workshop, a formidable shadowy figure who questions our path, who challenges our right to enter. This gatekeeper is the feeling of unworthiness. It is the deep, nagging, pervasive belief that we are not enough, not good enough, not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not deserving enough to have the beautiful things we wish to imagine for ourselves. This belief is the final illusion. It is the original wound, the first lie we were taught to believe. And today, we will not fight this gatekeeper. We will not try to trick him or overpower him. We will simply walk toward him, and with the light of truth, help him realize that he has been guarding an open door all along. Our entire society is built upon the myth of earned worth. From our earliest days, we are placed into a transactional system. If you are a good child, you receive love and approval. If you get good grades, you receive praise. If you perform well at your job, you receive a promotion. We are trained, like animals, to perform for our rewards. This conditioning becomes so deeply ingrained that we project it onto the universe itself. We come to believe that God, or life, operates on the same conditional, transactional model. We believe we must earn our blessings. We must prove our worthiness. We must become deserving of abundance. And so, we create an endless, internal checklist of self-improvement. I will be worthy of wealth when I have cleared all my debt. I will be worthy of love when I have a perfect body. I will be worthy of peace when I have finally conquered all my bad habits. But this is a game that is rigged for failure. For the moment you achieve one goal, the ego, the voice of unworthiness, simply creates another. The finish line is a mirage that constantly recedes as you approach it. This is the path of endless striving, the hamster wheel of self-flagellation, and it is built upon a fundamental lie about your nature. Let us dismantle this lie with an unarguable truth. Look to the sun. Does the sun need to pass a moral test before it is allowed to shine? Does it need to perform good deeds on Monday to earn the right to radiate its warmth on Tuesday? Does it ask for permission? Number. The sun shines because shining is its nature. It cannot not shine. It radiates light and warmth and life-giving energy simply by being what it is. It does not earn its right to exist. Its existence is its right. You are no different. You were born into this universe as a unique, irreplaceable expression of the very same source energy that animates the sun. Your right to be here, to be loved, to be supported, to be abundantly supplied, is not based on your performance. It is your nature. You are worthy because you exist. Your breath is your proof of worthiness. Your heartbeat is your certificate of deservingness. Now, let us use another metaphor. Imagine that your soul, your true self, is a flawless, multifaceted, and priceless diamond. It is inherently brilliant, pure, and immensely valuable. Its value is not determined by its location or its circumstances. Its value is intrinsic to its very structure. Now, imagine this diamond falls into the mud. It is caked in the dirt of past mistakes, smeared with the grime of poor choices. From the outside, it looks dull. An ignorant passerby might even mistake it for a common stone. But I ask you, has the diamond's essential nature or its intrinsic value changed in any way? Number. It is still a diamond. Now imagine this muddy diamond is found and locked away in a dark, steel vault of self-doubt and fear. It sees no light. Its brilliance is not reflected, but has its value diminished? Number. It is still a diamond. Imagine it is taken out and placed among common pebbles, and the pebbles, not understanding its fiery nature, criticize it for being too sharp, too bright. Does their opinion alter its value? Number. It is still a diamond. You are this diamond. The circumstances of your life are the mud. Your fears and self-doubts are the vault. The opinions of others are the pebbles. None of it, not one bit of it, has ever touched, tainted, or diminished the absolute, unchanging, and infinite value of who you truly are. Your work is not to become a diamond. Your work is to remember that you are one, and to begin the process of washing off the mud. How do we wash off the mud of unworthiness? We do it by ceasing to participate in the logic that created it. The ego says, I am worthy because I accomplished this, or I am unworthy because I failed at that. This is the logic of doing. The soul operates from a different logic entirely. The soul says, I am. That is the beginning and the end of the statement. I am. That is the full declaration of worth. I am, therefore I am worthy. You are a human being, not a human doing. Your worth is rooted in your being, not your doing. Can you allow this truth to settle into your bones? Can you feel the profound relief of it? You can finally put down the impossibly heavy burden of having to prove yourself. There is nothing to prove. Your worth was sealed, certified, and guaranteed the moment the universe sparked you into existence. You are not a candidate for divinity, pending a review of your life's performance. You are a fractal of divinity, here and now. You are not a sinner petitioning for grace. You are a piece of God experiencing itself, and grace is the very air you breathe. Let this truth permeate you. Repeat it to yourself, not as an affirmation to convince yourself, but as a statement of fact that you are finally remembering. My worth is not negotiable. My existence is my proof of worthiness. I was born worthy, and nothing I or anyone else has ever done or said can change that. Feel the chains of the past begin to dissolve. The shame of that bankruptcy, the guilt of that mistake, the feeling of being less than your sibling or your neighbor, all of it was predicated on the false belief that your performance was tied to your value. When you sever that tie, the negative feelings lose their fuel. They are ghosts from a false reality. You are no longer on trial. The verdict has been in since the beginning of time. You are worthy. Case closed. This realization is the final key that unlocks the door to your creative power. When you approach the workshop of your imagination now, the gatekeeper of unworthiness is no longer there. In his place is a welcoming host, ushering you in, eager to see what masterpiece you will create today. You can now imagine the most beautiful, abundant, and joyful life for yourself, without that nagging, insidious whisper saying, "Who do you think you are?" Now you have the answer. You know exactly who you are. You are a worthy divine creator, and you are here to create. You can finally imagine wealth without the subconscious belief that you are somehow undeserving of it. You can imagine love without the deep-seated fear that you are unlovable. You can imagine peace and joy, knowing they are your natural state. The conflict between your conscious desire and your subconscious belief is over. Your entire being is now aligned, united in a single powerful purpose, to express the magnificent, worthy self that you have always been. And now, rooted in this unshakable knowing of your own inherent, unconditional worth, you are finally, truly free. You are no longer a hungry ghost trying to earn your place at the table. You own the entire banquet hall. You are no longer the anxious actor, hoping you get the part. You are the writer, the director, and the star of your own magnificent production. From this place of profound self-acceptance and power, you can finally stop treating the creation of abundance as a desperate struggle for survival and start approaching it as it was always meant to be. A joyful, creative, and beautiful game. You are standing now on new ground. The earth beneath your feet is solid, for it is the unshakable foundation of your own inherent, unconditional worth. The air you breathe is clear, cleansed of the smoke of past wounds and the fog of limiting beliefs. From this high, clear, and solid place, you can look out upon the landscape of your life and see it with new eyes. You can see that the battlefield you once perceived was only ever an illusion. The struggle you thought was necessary was a misunderstanding. The grim, serious, life-or-death battle for survival that you were taught to fight was a game you were playing, but you had forgotten it was a game. So, take a deep breath, and with your next exhale, give yourself permission to set down the heavy armor. Let the shield of seriousness fall to the ground. Lay down the sword of struggle. You will not need them anymore. For where you are going, they are only excess weight. We are about to learn that creating a life of abundance was never meant to be a war. It was always meant to be a game, a beautiful, joyful, and creative game. Think of the energy you bring to something you consider play. Think of a child on a playground, or you, yourself, engaged in a beloved hobby or a game with friends. There is a lightness, a curiosity, a spirit of joyful experimentation. When a child builds a tower of blocks and it tumbles down, do they fall into a pit of despair and declare themselves a failure as a builder? Number. They laugh. The tumbling down is part of the fun. They simply gather the blocks and begin again, having learned something about gravity. Now, contrast this with the energy that most people bring to the subject of their finances and career. It is the energy of a soldier in a trench. It is grim, fearful, and heavy. Every decision is fraught with the terror of making a mistake. Every setback is seen as a fatal blow. The knuckles are white, the jaw is clenched, the entire being is braced for impact. Is it any wonder that from this state of rigid, fearful tension, we create lives that are filled with more reasons to be rigid and fearful? Let us reimagine life as a divine playground or a magnificently designed video game created by a loving source. The old way of playing, the survival mode, is to be obsessed with the score, terrified of losing a life. The player in survival mode sticks to the most obvious, well-trodden paths. They are so focused on avoiding enemies that they never look up to see the beauty of the game's design. They never have the courage to press a button just to see what it does, or to wander down a side path out of sheer curiosity. They are not playing to win, they are playing not to lose. And so, they miss all the hidden treasures, all the secret power-ups, all the beautiful Easter eggs that the game's designer has lovingly scattered throughout the world for the joyful and curious player to find. The new way, the way of the conscious co-creator, is to switch the game to creative mode. The player in creative mode is relaxed. They are there for the love of the game. Their primary motivation is not survival, but exploration, expression, and delight. They see a strange-looking cave, and their first thought is not "that looks dangerous," but "I wonder what's in there." They try a new strategy, and if it doesn't work, they laugh and try another. Because they are relaxed and open, their peripheral vision is wide. They spot the subtle clues in the environment. They discover the hidden levers and the secret passages. They are not fighting the game's mechanics. They are dancing with them. And because they are having fun, they are a vibrational match for all the fun, joy, and treasure the game has to offer. You must choose which player you want to be. The universe will support either role you choose to play. If you insist on playing the role of the struggling soldier, the universe will provide you with an endless supply of battles to fight. If you choose to play the role of the joyful explorer, the universe will provide you with an endless supply of beautiful and wondrous things to discover. This is not just a philosophical shift. There is a deep, energetic physics at play here. The state of seriousness, desperation, and neediness is a state of intense, energetic resistance. It is a vibration of contraction. When you are desperate, you are shouting at the universe, "I don't have it, it's not here," and you are pushing your own good away with the force of your anxiety. A playful spirit is the ultimate state of non-resistance. It is a vibration of expansion and openness. It says to the universe, "I trust you. I am here for the joyful adventure. Surprise me." This lightheartedness dissolves resistance and allows the flow of well-being to move through you without obstruction. Furthermore, a state of play is the native state of creativity. Neuroscientists can tell you that your brain functions differently under stress versus under relaxation. When you are in a state of fear and seriousness survival mode, your brain routes its energy to the primitive reptilian complexes responsible for fight or flight. Your thinking becomes narrow and reactive. You cannot access higher creative solutions from this state. When you are relaxed, curious, and joyful play mode, your brain opens up access to the neocortex, the seat of genius, inspiration, and novel thought. The brilliant, universe-sent idea for your new business or the elegant solution to a complex problem cannot land in a consciousness that is constricted by fear. It needs the open, spacious, playful field of a relaxed mind to take root. By choosing to play, you are literally making yourself smarter, more creative, and more receptive to divine guidance. So, how do we begin to play this new game? We start by consciously adopting a new set of rules. The first rule is simply, lighten up. You have explicit permission from the cosmos to stop taking your life, especially your financial life, so seriously. It is not a reflection of your worth. It is not a measure of your character. It is a game you are playing. So when you make what you used to call a mistake, a poor investment, a failed project, practice laughing at it. See it as a spectacular tumble of the block tower. Applaud the drama of it, and then begin again, armed with new knowledge. The second rule is, follow your curiosity. Curiosity is the whisper of your soul, your inner guidance system pointing you toward the hidden treasures. It is the universe's way of saying, psst, over here. So when you feel a genuine, joyful spark of curiosity, a desire to learn a new skill, to read about a strange topic, to talk to an interesting person, to start a small project, just for the fun of it, follow that thread. Do it with no expectation of where it will lead. The most profound and profitable journeys of your life will begin with a single step taken out of pure, unadulterated curiosity. The third rule is, celebrate everything. The universe loves to be acknowledged. In a game, when you find a single gold coin, a triumphant little sound effect plays. You must become your own sound effect. When you find a parking spot right in front of the store, celebrate. Yes, of course, I am a master of this game. When you receive a small, unexpected refund, celebrate. When someone gives you a compliment, receive it fully and celebrate. This practice of celebrating small wins builds a powerful momentum of success. It creates a feedback loop with the universe telling it, more of this, please. I am enjoying this game. The fourth and final rule is to fall in love with the process, not the outcome. A true gamer loves the feeling of playing the game, the challenge, the discovery, the mastery of new skills. The final score is just a byproduct of that joyful engagement. When you are truly playing the game of abundance, you are so absorbed in the joy of creating, of exploring, of following your curiosity, that you almost forget about the money. And in that state of joyful detachment from the outcome effortlessly appears. Because you are no longer broadcasting the needy frequency of I need to win. You are broadcasting the magnetic resonant frequency of I love to play. This new, playful spirit is not about making grand, reckless gestures. The game of abundance is a subtle one. It is often won in the small moments, through the gentle, consistent application of this new feeling. It is won through the power of small, intentional micro-actions that signal to the universe, and more importantly, to yourself, that you are now playing by a new, more joyful, and infinitely more powerful set of rules. We have stepped onto the divine playground. We have shed the heavy armor of seriousness and embraced the light, creative, and powerful spirit of play. We know our worth is unconditional. We know the universe is our co-creative partner. We know our job is to feel good, to follow our joy, and to trust the process. This is a liberating and expansive state of being. But how do we anchor this new, high-frequency state into the dense, physical reality of our day-to-day lives? How do we prevent the old habits of lack and fear from creeping back in? We do it not through grand, terrifying leaps of faith, but through the quiet, consistent, and immense power of intentional micro-actions. We must now learn to translate our new state of being into a new way of doing. We will build the palace of our new reality, not with giant, heavy stones of effort, but with the small, perfectly placed bricks of our daily choices. Imagine you have decided to build a great cathedral, a testament to your newfound faith. The finished vision in your mind is glorious, vast, and magnificent. If you stand before the empty plot of land and focus only on the sheer scale of the finished structure, the task will seem impossible. The mind will freeze in overwhelm. This is what happens when we think we must make a single, massive action to change our lives. Quit the job, make the million-dollar investment, move across the country. But the master builder does not focus on the finished cathedral. The master builder focuses on laying one single brick perfectly. They mix the mortar with care, they place the brick with intention, they ensure it is level and true, and then they reach for the next brick. They know that the glorious cathedral is simply the inevitable result of 1,000 small, perfectly executed actions. Your new, abundant life is this cathedral, and your intentional micro-actions are the bricks. Each one may seem insignificant on its own, but together they erect an unshakable edifice of prosperity. There is a profound psychology at work here. These small actions are powerful because they are a form of covert spiritual operations. They fly under the radar of the ego's powerful defense systems. If you tell yourself, "I must quit my job today and start my dream business," your ego, your fear mind, will sound every alarm. It will flood your system with terror, doubt, and 100 reasons why it's a terrible idea. But if you tell yourself, "Today, I will spend 20 minutes researching a topic I'm passionate about," the ego barely notices. It's too small a threat. If you resolve to make $1 million this year, the ego panics. But if you resolve to clean out your wallet and treat the money you do have with respect, the ego has no argument against it. These micro-actions gently and persistently reprogram your subconscious mind without triggering a full-scale rebellion from your fear. Furthermore, these actions create congruence. Your word for a long time has been, "I want abundance." But your actions have likely been screaming, "I am terrified of lack." You say you trust the universe, but you hoard every penny in fear. You say you believe you are worthy, but you deny yourself the smallest pleasures. This creates a chaotic, contradictory signal. It is like trying to drive a car with one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake. When you begin to perform small actions that are in alignment with the reality of abundance, you are creating energetic coherence. Your actions begin to match your intention. You are telling your subconscious mind and the universe, "I am no longer just talking about it, I am being it now. This is who I am." Identity is the sum of our repeated actions. You become an abundant person by repeatedly performing the small actions of an abundant person. Let us now fill your toolbox with a catalog of these powerful micro-actions. You can begin practicing these today. They are your new game. First, let us look at actions that up-level your physical environment and your relationship with what you already have. Start with your wallet or your perceived very home of your money. Is it cluttered with old, crumpled receipts and junk? Is it dirty and disorganized? Clean it out, wipe it down, arrange the bills so they all face the same direction, like honored guests. This simple act sends a powerful message. I respect money. I am a good steward of abundance. I am an organized and worthy recipient. Now, look at the things you use every day. For 1 week, when you buy groceries, choose the slightly more expensive, organic version of your favorite vegetable. Buy the high-quality coffee instead of the generic brand. Purchase one beautiful, luxurious bar of soap that makes you feel wonderful every time you use it. This is not about wasteful spending. It is about a single, conscious choice that tells your subconscious, I am worthy of quality. I am worthy of the best. Look in your closet. Do you have special occasion clothes or jewelry that you never wear, saving them for a day that may never come? Your life, this day, is the special occasion. Wear the beautiful scarf. Use the good dishes. You are signaling that your present moment is worthy of beauty and celebration. Next are actions that demonstrate your trust in the future supply of the universe. This is about cultivating a spirit of circulation, not hoarding. The next time you are paying for a service, leave a generous, cheerful tip. As you do, feel the genuine joy of being able to make someone's day a little brighter. Feel the energy of I have more than enough, and I am delighted to share. This is the vibration of true wealth. Practice giving in other ways. Donate $1, just one, to a cause you believe in. You are not solving world hunger with that dollar. You are rewiring your own brain from a mindset of, I must keep everything I have, to one of, I am part of a flowing, abundant system. Another powerful act of trust is to consciously not buy something just because it is on sale. If you don't truly love it, don't buy it. This demonstrates a deep trust that you will be able to afford the thing you truly want at the perfect time. You are no longer making decisions from a place of fear-based compromise. Finally, there are actions designed to simply normalize the feeling of abundance in your nervous system. These actions are about acclimating yourself to the environments of wealth, so they no longer feel foreign or intimidating. Take 30 minutes and go to the highest-end department store in your city. Don't take any money. Your intention is not to buy, but simply to browse. Touch the fine fabrics, admire the craftsmanship, breathe in the atmosphere. Do it with the feeling of a connoisseur, not a wanting spectator. Your only goal is to make your body comfortable in an environment of quality. Or, go to the dealership that sells your dream car. Ask to take it for a test drive. Feel the leather of the steering wheel. Smell the newness. Feel the smooth power of the engine. Again, your goal is not to inflame your sense of lack, but to give your subconscious a powerful sensory experience of this reality being normal and accessible to you. Spend an hour reading a book in the lobby of the most beautiful and expensive hotel in your town. Order a simple cup of tea. Absorb the atmosphere of quiet opulence and impeccable service. Let your nervous system learn that this is a place where you belong. The power in all these actions is not in the action itself, but in the intention you bring to it. The feeling is the fuel. Simply buying expensive things to show off is an act of ego that reinforces lack. But choosing to buy one beautiful thing from a feeling of self-worth is a sacred, creative act. The universe doesn't respond to the price tag, it responds to the vibration of your being. These micro-actions are the physical bridge you build between your present moment and your desired reality. They are the small hinges upon which the great doors of your future swing open. They are the dress rehearsal for the life you are stepping into. As you consistently perform them, you are not just signaling your intent, you are training your entire nervous system to accept a new normal. You are making the feeling of abundance so familiar, so comfortable, so natural, that you begin to live there permanently. You begin to master the art of living in the wish fulfilled. We have come to the summit. All the paths we have walked healing our wounds, understanding energy, releasing the how, and playing the game have all been leading to this one, high, sacred place. This is the apex of the creative process, the master key that unlocks every door. It is not another technique to be added to your repertoire, but a state of consciousness to be permanently inhabited. The mystics have called it by many names, but the simplest and most powerful is this: living in the wish fulfilled. This is the secret of the ages. The law is simple. You do not get what you want, you get what you are. To create a new reality, you must cease wanting it and begin being it. You must live in feeling, thought, and spirit as the person you desire to become long before the evidence appears in your physical world. The principle is one of assumption. To assume is to take upon yourself, to accept as true without external proof. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are performing the highest and most potent form of prayer. The old way of prayer is to petition a distant power for a future result. Please, give me abundance. This prayer, though sincere, is a powerful affirmation of your current state of not having it. It vibrates with the frequency of lack. The new way, the way of the conscious creator, is to give thanks from the state of the wish already being a fact. You quiet yourself, and from a place of deep knowing, you feel, "Thank you for the magnificent abundance that is my life." The first prayer is a cry from a state of lack. The second is a calm declaration from a state of fulfillment. The universe, being a perfect and impersonal mirror, only ever amplifies and returns to you the state you are embodying. Therefore, to change your world, you must change the state from which you operate. This is not an act of self-delusion or lying to yourself. It is an act of aligning with a deeper truth. It is understanding that consciousness is the one and only reality, and the physical world is but a shadow, a delayed reflection of where you have been dwelling in consciousness. By living in the wish fulfilled, you are not pretending. You are choosing the reality you wish to project onto the screen of space. You are impressing your new, chosen state of being upon the formless substance of the universe, compelling it to take the shape of your assumption. Let us make this tangible with a metaphor. Imagine you are a master method actor who has been cast in the greatest play ever produced. Your role is titled the joyful, secure, and abundantly wealthy you. A lesser actor would simply learn the lines. But you are a master. You immerse yourself in the role completely. You do not stand in the wings of the stage wishing you could be that character. You put on the character's metaphorical costume of confidence. You step onto the stage of your life and you become them. You begin to think their thoughts. How would this wealthy, secure person think about an unexpected bill? Not with panic, but with calm assurance. This is easily handled. How would they think about an opportunity? Not with fear, but with open curiosity. This could be interesting. You begin to feel their feelings. You generate the feeling of peace, of ease, of generosity, even when your current bank account seems to contradict it. You carry yourself with the posture of someone who is deeply secure. You inhabit the role so fully, you practice it day in and day out, that eventually it ceases to be a role. It becomes your nature. The audience, the world around you, which at first may have seen you as an actor, now fully believes you are this person, and they begin to treat you as such. The set of your life begins to rearrange itself to match the grandeur of the character you have so faithfully embodied. This is not acting in the sense of being fake. It is acting in the sense of taking an action in consciousness, of living as if your ideal is already a fact. Let us use another image. Imagine your desired reality is a beautiful home. The old way is to stand outside the locked gate, peering through the bars, hoping someone will let you in. The new way is to take the blueprint of the house, your clear, imaginal scene from our last lesson, and to mentally move in. You do not need the physical keys to occupy the house in your imagination. You lie in bed at night, and in your mind's eye, you are not in your current bedroom. You are in the master bedroom of your dream home. You feel the luxurious sheets. You see the moonlight streaming through the specific window. You get up and walk to the kitchen. You feel the cool marble of the countertop under your hands. You look out the window and see the specific view from that kitchen. You are emotionally and sensorially inhabiting the house. You are making it your home in consciousness. You are so familiar with it, so comfortable there, that when the physical keys finally do appear in your hand, it feels completely natural. It is not a shock, it is a homecoming. You were already living there all along. How do we practice this? How do we live from the end in a world that constantly presents us with evidence of our current reality? We do it deliberately, and we do it with gentle, loving persistence. The process begins the moment you awaken. In those precious, drowsy moments before the critical mind fully engages, before the memory of your problems rushes in, lie still. Ask yourself one simple question. How would I be feeling right now if my greatest desire was already a beautiful, established fact in my life? Do not ask how it happened. Just ask how you would feel. Would you feel a profound sense of relief, a quiet, expansive joy, a deep, unshakable peace, a thrilling sense of freedom? Identify that core feeling. Then, your task is to generate that feeling in your body, right now. Breathe it in. Let it fill your chest. Let it soften your muscles. And then make a gentle intention. Today, I will carry this feeling with me. This feeling is my true north. This feeling is my home base. You are deciding to wear the feeling of your future success as your garment for the day. The true practice, the true test, comes in how you react to the events of your day. The world will present you with circumstances that reflect your old state. An unexpected expense arrives. The old self, living in lack, reacts with a jolt of fear, a tightness in the stomach. The new you, the method actor living from the end, observes the expense and consciously chooses a different reaction. From the state of abundance, you think, an opportunity to circulate my wealth. This is easily taken care of. There is no panic, only a calm knowing. A business deal appears to fall through. The old self reacts with despair. The new you, living from the end, reacts with serene curiosity. How interesting. This must not have been the most direct route. This must be the bridge of incidents clearing a path for something even better. You consciously and deliberately choose your reactions, not from your current circumstances, but from the standpoint of the person you have already become in imagination. The final piece of this practice happens as you prepare for sleep. As you enter that drowsy, creative state once more, you review your day. This is not a time for self-judgment. It is a time for what Neville called revision. If there was a moment during the day where you forgot your role, where you reacted with fear, anger, or despair, you now revise that scene. You replay it in your imagination, but this time, you rewrite the script. You see yourself reacting differently. You see yourself handling the situation with the calm wisdom, grace, and confidence of your ideal self. You feel the feeling of having navigated it perfectly, then you let it go. You have energetically corrected the error, cleansed the slate, and reinforced your new state of being before impressing it upon your subconscious for the entire night. You fall asleep, dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is the art and science of a magical life. You are no longer a victim tossed about by the waves of circumstance. You are the lighthouse, remaining steady in the light of your assumption, and you are allowing the entire world to rearrange itself around your unshakable inner reality. It is the highest form of prayer, the most potent creative act, and the final secret to effortless creation. When you consistently and faithfully live from the end, from this state of the wish fulfilled, the world of shadow must begin to conform to the reality you are holding in the light of your consciousness. It has no other choice. It begins to send you reflections, whispers, and clues to show you that your inner reality is hardening into fact. You begin to notice the signs and synchronicities that mark the bridge of incidents leading you to your glorious destination. You are now living from the end. You have made the state of your wish fulfilled your internal home, your secret sanctuary. You are practicing the art of feeling in this present moment, the peace, joy, and relief of your desire already being a fact. As you persist in this inner reality, something miraculous begins to happen. The outer world, the world of shadow and reflection, which once seemed so random, so chaotic, and perhaps even so hostile, begins to change its posture toward you. It begins to soften. It starts to feel less like a dense, indifferent wall and more like a responsive, intelligent field of energy. It begins to speak to you, not in words, but in a language far more ancient and magical, a language of signs, whispers, and meaningful coincidences. The world begins to wink at you. This is the first evidence that your inner creative act is hardening into fact. You are beginning to perceive the bridge of incidents that is being built to lead you home. Your task now is to learn how to read the language of the universe, to recognize the signs and synchronicities that confirm you are on the path. For most of our lives, we exist in a state of perceptual slumber. We walk through the world seeing events as isolated and random. A song on the radio is just a song. A chance encounter is just a coincidence. A recurring number is just a quirk of probability. But as you awaken your consciousness, you begin to perceive a deeper layer of reality, a hidden architecture of meaning beneath the surface of things. You begin to experience synchronicity. The term, coined by the great psychologist Carl Jung, describes a meaningful coincidence. It is the alignment of an inner, psychological state with an outer, physical event in a way that feels so personal and significant it defies simple chance. It is when you have been struggling with a question all day and you walk past a bookstore where a book in the window seems to scream the answer. It is when you finally decide to forgive someone and they call you out of the blue after years of silence. These are not mere accidents. They are the universe confirming that it has heard your inner shift and is now reflecting it back to you. Think of yourself as being on a grand and beautiful treasure hunt. The destination on your map is the feeling of your wish fulfilled. That is the X that marks the spot. You know where you are going in your heart, but you do not know the specific path through the forest. The universe, as the loving and playful game master, has scattered a series of clues along the most joyful and efficient route to guide you. These clues are the signs and synchronicities. A sign might be a feather of a specific color, a recurring symbol, or a strangely shaped stone. It doesn't tell you the whole journey, but it confirms you are on the right path, and perhaps points you toward the next turn. The person who is lost in their own anxious thoughts, staring at their feet and worrying about the destination, will walk right past these clues without ever seeing them. But the conscious creator, the joyful player, walks with their head up. They are present in the moment, their senses are alive, and their heart is open. They see the feather, they recognize its significance, and they feel a thrill of connection and guidance. Their journey is not one of anxious striving, but of delightful discovery. So, what are these clues? What should you be looking for as you navigate your day? Let us create a field guide for the treasure hunter. First, there are the auditory signs. Pay attention to the soundscape of your life. You may be thinking intensely about a decision and you turn on the car radio, and the very first lyrics you hear offer a piece of perfect, unmistakable advice. You might be walking through a crowd, feeling lost or confused, and you overhear a snippet of a stranger's conversation that contains a key word or a phrase that lands in your soul with the force of a revelation. You might be discussing a new project, and someone in the room will mention a name or a company out of the blue, a name you have never heard before, that you will later discover is the key to your next step. These are not random sounds. This is the universe using the existing audio of the world as its personal broadcast system to speak directly to you. Second, there are the visual signs. These are often the most common and playful clues. You may start seeing recurring number sequences everywhere on digital clocks, on license plates, on receipts, on page numbers. You might see 11, 11, 444, or a sequence that has a personal meaning to you. Do not get lost in complex numerological systems unless that brings you joy. Simply see these numbers as a loving wink from the cosmos, a little note that says, I'm with you. You are aligned. Keep going. You may also see recurring symbols. An animal you have a connection with might suddenly start appearing everywhere in pictures, on television, or in person. You might see a specific shape or symbol that is part of your inner, imaginal work begin to manifest in the outer world. These are confirmations. The veil between the inner and outer worlds is thinning. Third, pay attention to the written word as it presents itself to you. A headline on a newspaper stand, a billboard you drive past every day but only truly see today, a post that scrolls by on social media feeds can all be vehicles for a direct message. You will know it is a sign because it will seem to jump out at you, to be illuminated from within, and it will speak directly to the specific theme of your inner world at that moment. Finally, and most powerfully, there are the synchronistic encounters. This is when the universe orchestrates the movement of people in your life. You decide to visit a coffee shop you never go to, and you bump into the one person who has the skills or connections you were just wishing for. You receive an email out of the blue from a former colleague who is now working in the exact field you wish to enter. These encounters are the universe physically moving the pieces on the chessboard of your life to facilitate your journey. They are the tangible evidence of the bridge of incidents being built. The most important filter for all of this is your own feeling. You must not fall into the trap of superstition, of desperately seeking meaning in every single cloud formation or dropped coin. That is the energy of the anxious mind. A true sign is unmistakable. It lands with a specific feeling. It can be a jolt of electricity up your spine. It can be a sudden, deep sense of peace and knowing. It can be a feeling of delighted wonder that makes you laugh out loud. It feels different from a mundane event. It feels imbued with magic. It feels personal. It feels like a secret message intended only for you. Trust that feeling above all else. That feeling is your confirmation that you are not just seeing things, you are seeing the truth. When you recognize a sign, your response is simple. First, acknowledge it. A quiet, internal thank you is all that is needed. I see that. Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you for the guidance. This act of acknowledgement tells your co-creator, the universe, that you are paying attention and that you appreciate the clues. This encourages more to be sent. You are actively participating in the game. Second, if the sign points toward a gentle, inspired action, follow it with playful curiosity. If the book falls off the shelf, buy the book. If you keep hearing the name of a certain restaurant, go have a meal there. The action should feel light, easy, and intriguing, not heavy, burdensome, or scary. You are simply taking the next, small, guided step on your treasure hunt. By learning to recognize this language, you change your relationship with life itself. You are no longer a solitary being, hoping for the best. You are in a constant, dynamic, and magical dialogue with an intelligent and loving cosmos. You are being guided, supported, and cheered on every single step of the way. As you become fluent in this new language of signs, as you see with your own eyes how generously and playfully the universe supports you, a natural and beautiful impulse arises from within your being. The feeling of being so full, so provided for, so guided, creates a spontaneous desire to participate in that flow of generosity. This leads us to the final great paradox of abundance. The more you give from a place of genuine fullness, the wider you open your channels to receive. You are now in conversation with the cosmos, learning to read its winks and whispers in the language of signs and synchronicities. You are feeling the constant, loving support of a universe that is actively guiding you toward your good. In this state of being so provided for, so seen, so guided, a new and natural impulse begins to stir within you. It is the feeling of being full to overflowing. It is a cup that is not just full, but running over. And when a cup runs over, Its contents naturally spill out to nourish the ground around it. This is the impulse to give, to share, to circulate the good that you are feeling and receiving. We have spent much time learning the sacred art of breathing in, of opening ourselves to receive. We must now master the other half of the breath, the equally sacred art of breathing out. For a life of only inhaling is impossible. A life of only receiving becomes stagnant. We must now explore the final great paradox of prosperity. The more you give from a place of authentic fullness, the wider you open the channels to receive. For most of us, the act of giving is fraught with the subtle anxieties of the scarcity mindset. We are taught that we should give, that it is a moral or religious duty. So we give, but we do so from a place of fear or obligation. This is the tithe of fear. We give a portion of our money or time with a clenched heart, feeling that we are giving away something we can't truly afford to lose, hoping this act of sacrifice will appease some cosmic accountant and prevent future misfortune. This type of giving, while it may help the recipient, does very little for the giver. Energetically, it is a powerful statement of lack. You are telling the universe, I don't have enough, but I will give this little piece away in the hopes that you don't take more. The universe, being a perfect mirror, can only reflect your feeling of not enough back to you. This fear is rooted in the zero-sum game illusion, the belief that the world contains a single, finite pie of resources. In this view, if I give you a slice of my pie becomes smaller. Your gain is my loss. This is the fundamental operating system of a consciousness based in fear and competition, but you are now operating from a higher truth. You understand that we do not live in a world of a single finite pie. We live in a universe with an infinite kitchen that is baking new pies constantly. The act of joyful giving doesn't diminish your slice. It tells the divine baker, I love this pie so much. It is delicious, and I trust there is plenty more where that came from. The baker, delighted by your appreciation and trust, joyfully sends out a fresh, new, even bigger pie for you to enjoy and share. Your giving did not deplete you. It expanded the entire supply. To understand this principle, let us imagine your life as a beautiful lake. For this lake to be vibrant, clear, and teeming with life, it must have two things: a fresh, flowing stream that constantly feeds Iton Inletend, a strong, steady river that flows out from Iton Outlet. The inlet is your capacity to receive, the practice of allowing that we have cultivated. The outlet is your capacity to give. Now, imagine a lake that only has an inlet. The water pours in, but it never leaves. The owner of the lake, in their fear of it ever running dry, dams up the outlet completely. What happens? The water becomes stagnant. It grows murky, choked with algae, and devoid of oxygen. It becomes a swamp. It cannot support life. This is the person who only receives. They hoard their money, their time, their love, clinging to it all in fear. Their life energy becomes stagnant, and their wealth brings them no joy. Now, imagine the opposite. A channel that only has an outlet. The water flows out constantly, but nothing replenishes it. This is the martyr, the person who gives and gives from a sense of duty or a need to be needed, but who does not feel worthy of receiving. They give from a place of depletion until they eventually run dry, becoming an empty riverbed of resentment and burnout. The model for an abundant life is the third lake, the living lake. It has a constant, joyful inflow of receiving and a constant, joyful outflow of giving. It is always full, yet always flowing. Because it is always flowing, the water is clear, fresh, and vital. It supports a rich and thriving ecosystem. It is a source of life and nourishment for the entire landscape around it. You are this lake. To be a vibrant, abundant being, you must honor both the receiving and the giving. You must become a master of circulation. So how do we practice this new, conscious giving. The first principle is this: you give from your overflow, not from your substance. Think of your energy like a cup of water. Your substance is the water you need to live, to feel safe and secure. Your overflow is the extra that begins to spill over the top when you are connected to your source. You never give away the water that is essential for your own well-being. That is self-betrayal. Instead, you focus on filling your own cup first. You practice all the principles we have discussed. You heal your wounds. You live in your worthiness. You feel the joy of the wish fulfilled until your own cup is so full that it naturally begins to overflow. This overflow is what you give. And your overflow is not just financial. On a day when you feel an overflow of joy, you can give a genuine compliment to a stranger. On a day when you feel an overflow of time and presence, you can give the gift of listening fully to a friend. On a day when you feel an overflow of creativity, you can share an idea that might help someone. You focus on your own fullness, and the giving becomes an effortless, joyful, and natural consequence. The second principle is that the feeling is the true gift. The universe does not have a calculator. It does not measure the monetary amount of your gift. It measures the frequency of the joy with which you give it. Giving $1 with a heart that is bursting with the joy of circulation, with a genuine feeling of, "I am so happy to be a part of this flow," is 1,000 times more powerful than giving $10,000 with a feeling of resentment, obligation, or a need for recognition. That feeling of joy is a high-frequency broadcast that tells the universe, "I am a joyful giver. I am a conduit for abundance." And the universe must, by law, send you more opportunities to feel that joy of giving. The third principle is to release the outcome. Give for the pure delight of the act itself. When you put your gift into the great river of life, do not try to follow it and see where it goes. Do not expect it to flow back to you from the same person or in the same form. Your job is to contribute your joyful energy to the universal flow. The universe's job is to manage the infinitely complex circulatory system. You may give to person A, and the universe will arrange for your good to return to you through person X, through an unexpected business opportunity, or through a flash of creative inspiration. Trust the system. It is far more ingenious than you can imagine. Finally, give to that which inspires you. Let your giving be an extension of your joy. Give to the artist whose music makes your soul dance. Give to the restaurant that serves you food with such love and care. Give to the writer whose words open your mind. Give to the cause that resonates with your deepest values. When you direct your giving toward what you love, the act is always infused with the high vibration of passion and appreciation. It is no longer a duty, it is a celebration. This is the breath of abundance. The joyful receiving is the inhale. The joyful giving is the exhale. Each one makes the other possible. Giving from a full heart is the ultimate act of faith. It is a powerful embodied declaration that you know you are connected to an infinite, inexhaustible source. It is the proof that you have moved beyond the fearful logic of scarcity and into the flowing, vibrant reality of the living lake. When you master this sacred rhythm of joyful giving and grateful receiving, your identity begins to shift once more. You move beyond the role of someone who is simply trying to get or even play with abundance. The flow through you becomes so consistent, so reliable, that you become something more. You become a conscious hub, a dependable conduit for universal energy. You evolve into the honored and responsible role of a steward of abundance. We have explored the joyful dance of circulation, the sacred rhythm of receiving and giving. We have learned to become a living lake, a vibrant hub through which the energy of the universe can flow. As you master this rhythm, as the flow through you becomes stronger, more consistent, and more powerful, you will find your identity undergoing one final, profound evolution. You have moved from victim to creator, from petitioner to partner. Now, you are invited to step into the most honored and meaningful role of all. You are invited to become a steward of abundance. This is not a burden to be shouldered, but a mantle of joyful responsibility to be worn with grace. It is the natural culmination of your journey, the point where personal prosperity finds its ultimate meaning in purposeful service. The ego's final goal, its ultimate ambition, is ownership. It seeks to possess. It wants to have the money, to own the company, to possess the assets. This deep-seated desire for ownership is rooted in the primal fear of lack. The ego believes that what it owns, it can control, and what it controls cannot be taken away. This belief is the source of all attachment, the reason for all hoarding, and the primary cause of the stagnant, joyless swamp of wealth we have spoken of. Today, we must embrace a truth that is terrifying to the ego, but liberating to the soul. You own nothing. The body you inhabit, the relationships you cherish, the ideas that move through you, and the money that passes through your hands, none of it is truly yours. You are a temporary guardian, a transient user of forms. The universe has loaned you its energy, its substance, its life, for you to experience and create with during your time here. To claim ownership over it is like a wave claiming ownership over the ocean. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of your nature. The shift from ownership to stewardship is the shift from this is mine to keep to this is mine to care for. And in this shift, the fear of loss dissolves, and the channels for infinite, unimpeded flow are thrown wide open. Let us imagine the flow of abundance, of money and life force, as a great and powerful river. The ego, upon seeing this river, immediately thinks, "This water is precious and powerful. I must build a great dam to stop its flow and create a vast private reservoir that is all mine." And so, it works tirelessly, building a wall of attachment, hoarding, and control. It may succeed in creating a large reservoir, but the water within it becomes still and stagnant. It no longer flows. And even more tragically, the lands downstream, the potential businesses, the charitable works, the lives that could have been touched wither and dry up from the lack of flow. This is the ego's model of wealth, a stagnant private reservoir built on fear. But you are no longer operating from the ego. You have evolved. You are the steward of the river keeper. You see the flowing water not as a commodity to be owned, but as a sacred trust. Your job is not to stop the river, but to serve the river. As a wise steward, you have several key responsibilities. First, you must keep the channel clear. You must be vigilant in removing the debris of your own fear, the fallen logs of your limiting beliefs, and the sludge of your egoic attachments that could obstruct the river's powerful, natural flow. Your inner work is your primary act of stewardship. Second, you direct the flow wisely. You do not simply let the river run wild. You become a master of spiritual irrigation. You see where the land is fertile but dry, and you build a channel to direct a stream of water there. This is you investing in the promising startup that aligns with your values. This is you funding the artist whose work brings beauty and truth into the world. You see where the people are thirsty, and you build an aqueduct. This is you supporting the charity that provides clean water, or the educational foundation that provides scholarships. You do not diminish the river by doing this. You are fulfilling its purpose. The river wants to nourish the land. You are simply helping it do so in the most effective and beautiful way. Third, a good steward ensures that the water that flows out of their portion of the river is even cleaner and more vibrant than when it entered. This is the principle of integrity and value creation. In your business dealings, you are honest and fair. In your work, you deliver more in value than you receive in payment. You leave people, situations, and environments better than you found them. You infuse the energy that flows through you with the high frequencies of love, integrity, and excellence. This not only blesses all that it touches downstream, but it purifies and strengthens the flow coming toward you. The universe, in its perfect wisdom, sends its strongest currents through the clearest and most value-adding channels. By being a good steward, by serving the river itself thrives. The entire ecosystem flourishes. The lands are fertile, the people are nourished, and the river's source seems to open up even wider, sending you an even more powerful, consistent, and joyful flow. You have moved beyond simply having abundance, and you have become a source of abundance for the world. This role as a steward comes with practical principles for your daily life. The first is conscious direction. You now understand that every dollar that passes through your hands is a form of energy, a vote. When you spend or invest, you are no longer just a consumer. You are a benefactor. You ask yourself, where is this energy going? Is it being used to create more of what I want to see in the world, or more of what I don't? You consciously choose to support businesses that are ethical, sustainable, and aligned with your values. You become a conscious participant in the world's economy, using the flow through you to vote for a better world. The second principle is that of a long-term vision. A steward does not think only of today's comfort. They think of the health of the river for generations to come. This is the concept of legacy. You begin to ask yourself questions that transcend your own lifespan. How can the abundance flowing through me create lasting positive change? How can I set up systems, foundations, or businesses that will continue to bless others long after I am gone? This shifts your focus from immediate gratification to ultimate contribution. Paradoxically, when you focus on building a legacy of service, your own personal needs are met with an almost startling effortlessness. The universe rushes to support the one whose vision is vast enough to include the well-being of the whole. Finally, the steward masters the art of detached management. You love the river, you care for it deeply, but you are not attached to any single drop of water. You know the water is not yours to own. You manage the flow with wisdom, but without the clenching fear of personal loss. If a drought comes, you manage the resources wisely and trust the rains will return. If a flood comes, you manage the overflow with calm and direct it where it can do the most good. This emotional detachment, this freedom from the fear of loss, gives you the clarity and courage to make the bold, inspired decisions that a fearful owner never could. This is the true meaning of being rich. It is not a number. It is not an inventory of possessions. It is the scale, the quality, and the purpose of the life force that flows through you to nourish the world. It is the joy of being a trusted conduit for the generosity of the cosmos. It is the peace of knowing your life has a profound and lasting purpose. Living as a conscious steward, you find that all the separate notes we have, learned gratitude, allowing, giving, worthiness begin to merge into a single, effortless chord. They are no longer individual techniques you must practice, but have become a single, integrated state of your being. You do not just conduct the music of your life, you become the music. You become the symphony of effortless flow. We have reached the end of the path, not because there is nowhere else to go, but because we have arrived where we always were. This is the great and final secret. The journey was never about becoming someone new. It was always about unbecoming everything that was not you. It was a journey of shedding skins, of dismantling false structures, of letting go of heavy burdens until only the truth of your own magnificent being remained. What we explore now is not a new lesson, not another technique to be learned. It is a recognition. It is the moment the weary traveler realizes the treasure they sought across the world was the very ground upon which they stand. It is the moment the seeker puts down the map and recognizes their own heart as the destination. Welcome home. You are now ready to embody the symphony of effortless flow. Think back upon our journey. We began by identifying the persistent, ghostly echo of lack in the room of the mind. We no longer need to consciously ignore that echo. In this new state, the room has become so filled with the resonant, living music of your own being that the echo has long since faded into utter silence. There is nothing for it to reflect off of. We then turn to heal the deep wounds of scarcity at the roots of our tree. Now, you no longer see those experiences as wounds to be managed or scars to be hidden. They have been fully metabolized by your consciousness. The pain has been composted into the rich soil of wisdom. The fear has been transformed into the strength of compassion. Your roots are now deep, whole, and draw nourishment from the universe with effortless ease. We shattered the heavy chains of effort, learning to distinguish between forced action and inspired action. This distinction is no longer necessary. In the symphony of flow, all of your actions are inspired. The concept of effort has lost all meaning, for you are no longer pushing against the river. You are the river. This flows into the game of abundance. The game is no longer a game you have chosen to play. It has become the very nature of your interaction with reality. You do not have to remind yourself to be curious or playful. It is your natural mode of being. Life unfolds before you, not as a series of problems, but as a series of delightful discoveries. We learn to cultivate gratitude as a magnet and to enter the vibration of allowing. Now, you no longer need to set aside time to practice gratitude. A state of gentle, profound appreciation is the very fragrance of your consciousness. You are grateful for your breath, for the light, for your existence, as naturally as a flower is grateful for the sun. And because you live in this state of perpetual thanksgiving, the need to try to allow has vanished. Allowing is as involuntary and as natural as your own heartbeat. The dams of resistance have not just been dismantled, their very foundations have dissolved into the earth. We stepped into the sculptor's studio to learn that the imagination creates reality and began the practice of living in the wish fulfilled. This, too, has undergone a profound integration. The separation between your imaginal acts and your waking reality has become gossamer thin. You no longer need to enter a special state to imagine your desire. Your baseline state of being is the wish fulfilled. You do not have to act as if. You simply are. Your thoughts, your words, your posture, your decisions, they all emanate naturally and authentically from the central truth of your abundant, secure, and joyful self. Finally, we explored the paradox of giving and the honored role of the steward of abundance. This, too, is now effortless. You do not think about giving. The abundance flowing into you is so great and so constant that it naturally and joyfully flows out from you. Circulation is your nature. You are a sun, and you cannot help but radiate light and warmth. The feeling of stewardship is no longer a responsibility you have taken on, but an identity you embody. You manage the flow of life through you with an innate wisdom and a deep, quiet love for the whole. Do you see? All the separate techniques, all the individual notes have now merged. They have resolved into a single, beautiful, and effortless chord. This brings us to our final metaphor. We once saw you as the conductor of the orchestra, standing apart from the musicians, consciously directing the energy. This was a necessary and powerful stage of learning. But in the final state of mastery, the separation dissolves. The conductor turns, smiles, and walks into the orchestra. The baton disappears, the podium vanishes. The conductor merges with the music itself. You are no longer directing the symphony from the outside. You have become the symphony of effortless flow. What does this feel like? It is a state where your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are in perfect, unforced harmony. Your thoughts are the melodiclia, inspired and beautiful. They are no longer the frantic chatter of the ego, but the serene and creative impulses of your higher self. Your emotions are the rich, resonant harmony that gives the melody its depth, its power, and its soul-stirring beauty. You no longer have negative emotions. You have moments of emotional dissonance that, like in a great symphony, only serve to make the coming resolution into harmony even more beautiful and profound. And your actions are the rhythm of the symphony, steady, graceful, and perfectly timed. You move through your day with an unhurried grace, always seeming to be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, without any sense of strain or struggle. In this state, you understand on a cellular level that there are no wrong notes. An unexpected event, a perceived failure, a detour, these are not mistakes. They are simply an interesting chord change, a surprising modulation that the divine composer wrote into the score to make your symphony more unique, more complex, and ultimately more magnificent. You trust the composer completely. You trust the unfolding of your own life's music with an unshakable peace. Your life is no longer a problem to be solved, a mountain to be climbed, or a battle to be won. It is, quite simply, a piece of music to be expressed and enjoyed. Your only purpose is to allow your unique song to be played through you with the greatest authenticity and joy you can muster. You are a living, breathing symphony of abundance, and your very existence is a gift of beautiful music to the world. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to seek. There is only this state of being to be enjoyed, to be embodied, to be lived. You have not just learned the way home, you are home. And the peace you feel now is the feeling of your own true nature, resonating in perfect harmony with the all. The final note of the symphony has faded into the cosmos. What remains is not an emptiness, but a profound and vibrant silence, pregnant with the truth of all that you have remembered. The journey of becoming is complete. You have arrived not at a destination, but at your own point of origin, seeing it for the very first time with eyes cleansed of fear. There is nothing more to learn, for you have become the knowing. There is nothing more to seek, for you have become the treasure. There is only this new state of being to be lived, to be embodied, to be enjoyed. As you go forward from this space, let one simple, powerful image be the anchor for your new reality. See yourself as a great lighthouse. You are built upon the unshakable rock of your own inherent worthiness. Your foundation is solid, and it cannot be threatened by any storm or any tide. Within you is a powerful, brilliant light. This is your inner state of peace, your alignment with Source, your joy, your feeling of abundance. Your purpose is not to chase after the ships on the sea. It is not your job to worry if they are coming, to fret about their course, or to scream for their attention. The lighthouse does not concern itself with the affairs of the ships. It has only one, simple, effortless function. Its only work is to be and to shine. By remaining true to its own nature, by faithfully radiating its light into the darkness, it becomes a beacon of hope, of safety, of guidance. The ships, seeking harbor, are naturally, inevitably drawn to its shore. You are this lighthouse. Your inner state of peace and fullness is your light. Stop chasing the ships of money, of opportunity, of validation. They are out there on the sea, and they are seeking a safe harbor. Your only task is to tend to your inner light, to cultivate your joy, to rest in your worthiness, to remain rooted in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Be the lighthouse. Shine your unique frequency of love and abundance into the world, without condition, without expectation. The right ships, the ones that are destined for your shore, will see your light, and they will find their way to you with an ease and grace that will feel like a miracle. Let this be your mantra, the simple summary of all you have learned. Stop chasing, start shining. When you feel the old urge to strive, to worry, to control, simply bring your attention back to your inner light and remember your only true work. You can whisper this truth to yourself until it becomes your reality. I am the open channel. I am the joyful receiver. Money flows to me, through me, and from me. in a constant, effortless, abundant stream. There is nothing more to do. There is only this being to embody. Go now, in the quiet confidence of this truth. Live your life not as a seeker, but as a finder, not as a student, but as a master, not as a creation of circumstance, but as the creator of your reality. The journey is over. The living has just begun. Be still and know.